Part 124. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1246. Staring at the old man transformed by Zhao Mingcheng walking away along the street, Sima Nan, the young master of the Qinglan sect, subconsciously formed a seal with his hands, and at the same time, a bronze mirror appeared from above his head. Clear as water, as if the invisible mirror light slanted out, penetrating countless obstacles like lightning, spanning more than 10 kilometers, and fell on Zhao Mingcheng. The image of the old man with the bamboo stick faded away, revealing a middle-aged man wearing a purple robe, a gold belt around his waist, a red gourd, a short beard on his chin, and a dignified brow. This is Zhao Mingcheng, but does it look familiar? Sima Nan frowned slightly and thought hard for a while, then suddenly his whole body was shaken and he exclaimed. How can it be? Young master, what's wrong? Seeing that he looked like he had seen a ghost, the old man also had a baffled look on his face. After being stunned for a while, Sima Nan suddenly became excited. If it's true, it would be really fun to watch. He muttered to himself for a moment, Lao Ji, I have something to take care of. I'll leave this to you. By the way, if I can't come back, remember to give this jade plate to my father. A ray of light flew into his hand, and before the old man could speak, Sima Nan had already turned into a ray of light and left the attic, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Looking at the direction he left, the old man frowned. What exactly did the young master discover? Looking at the jade plate in his hand, he wanted to see its contents. However, given the young master's character, there must be a unique ban inside. If it is broken, it will be difficult to recover. After taking a slight breath, suppressing the curiosity in his heart, he solemnly put the jade dish away. Sima Nan activated the mirror light to hide his figure. His natal spiritual treasure was modeled after the Qinglan sect's spiritual treasure wonderful technique Ruyi mirror. Although in terms of power alone, his top-grade Hunyuan Lingbao is inferior to the mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao level wonderful technique Ruyi mirror, its functions are almost the same. There are traces of cover, and the effect of the prohibition can be seen through. Of course, it also has a certain degree of lethality. Secretly following Zhao Mingcheng through the streets, there were gradually fewer people around. Soon I saw him walking into a not-so-gorgeous house. This is his home. Looking at the house in front of me, my heart moved, and the clear mirror light flew straight towards the courtyard wall. Suddenly, a powerful restriction emerged from mid-air. It was like an unshakable wall, blocking out all the light. So strong. Sima Nan's heart was shocked, and he was quite alert. Knowing that this would definitely alarm his master, he quickly activated his escape method to prepare to leave. But before he could move the magic power, a vast and powerful magic power enveloped him. Damn it! With fear in his heart, he struggled desperately, but the powerful force exceeded him so much that he couldn't move at all. I am the young master of the Qinglan section. Before he finished speaking, his body, mana and soul were all sealed. Until then he had not discovered who the enemy was. But he who could so easily take down the person who reached the peak of Hunyuan Golden Immortal must be a member of Hongmeng. Unfortunately, he could no longer verify it. Behind it, a tall man wearing a green robe, a gold belt around his waist, a green gourd hanging on his waist, and a gold ring binding his hair emerged from the void. Whoa, a milky white aura flew out of the yard like lightning, and a beautiful woman wearing a white dress, with high hair and a gentle temperament appeared in mid-air. After glancing at the young man who was motionless in the air and obviously sealed, he bowed and saluted. Yulinki pays homage to the great uncle. Su Junming nodded slightly, no need to be polite, just get up. While talking, Zhao Mingcheng flew over. His cultivation level is no better than that of his wife, and his vigilance is also a little worse. Seeing Su Junming, I was pleasantly surprised and hurriedly stepped forward to greet him. After responding, Su Junming waved his sleeves, and the group of people arrived in the courtyard instantly. With the restriction, you don't have to worry about others prying. Do you know this person? Su Junming waved his left hand, and Sima Nan flew in front of the two of them. Looking at the dull man, Yu Linqi and Zhao Mingcheng shook their heads at the same time. But this person obviously knows you. He has followed Mingcheng from the main street to here. And his expression is obviously full of surprise and anxiety. Their hearts sank. Teacher suspects that this person is from the Immortal clan. No, his real name is Sima Nan, and he is the biological son of Sima Fan, the leader of the Kinglan section. Sima Nan. Zhao Mingcheng pondered for a moment and shook his head. I don't know this person. After nodding slightly, he looked at Yu Linqi, who was deep in thought and did not urge her. Zhao Mingcheng obviously saw the clues. After a long time. Uncle, I don't know Sima Nan, but Sima Fan, the leader of the Kinglan sect, was a guest of the Immortal clan back then, so he should know me. Later, Mingcheng and I escaped from the Immortal clan's secret realm. In order to hunt us down, the Immortal clan must have killed me. People spread the news and get close to the clan, so the Kinglan sect probably knew about me and Mingcheng. But I didn't expect that after so many years, they would still know us. Su Junming nodded and said with a smile, it seems that this Sima Nan should have been your admirer back then. I still remember him now. He is a polyamorous society. Even Mingcheng has changed his appearance, but he still recognized him at a glance. Yu Linqi blushed, but her uncle's inference was indeed the most likely thing. Looking at her husband's face, she saw that he looked a little solemn. After having been married for many years, Yu Linqi instantly understood what she was thinking. He quickly held her husband's hand. Don't worry, listen to what my uncle has to say. Looking at the eyes of the two people, Su Junming smiled lightly. Don't worry about this matter. Whether it's the Kinglan sect or the Immortal clan, they are just like chickens and dogs in front of me, Chongshan. There is endless confidence in his calm words. Even without the Dian Divine Mirror, just the gourd vine is enough to sweep through all Hongmeng Shangzun. Even with the middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, under the blessing of the Taoism of the world, after practicing hard for thousands of Yuanhui, Su Junming's Taoism has improved again. Although there is still a long way to go before the great master's peak, he has already traveled 100 miles. With another 2 to 3,000 yuan, you can advance to the peak of Hongmeng Grand Master. As for breaking through to the Supreme, even with the blessing of time and Taoism, it will take a long time. But even so, it is enough in the wild world. Su Junming's words had an indescribable soothing power that made the couple calm down inexplicably. Thank you very much, teacher, uncle. After nodding with a smile, he waved and the dull-looking Sima Nan disappeared instantly. Why didn't you see those two little guys Xingshan and Xingyun? I was taken on a journey by senior brother Yang and senior sister Feng. I don't know where I am now, Yu Linqi said with resentment in her tone. Her children were not of the same mind as her, but were aligned with their master, which made her feel a little sad. Don't worry about it. With the magical powers of senior brother Yang and senior sister Feng, where can the entire wild world go? With them here, De Mao and Xiao Mao will not be in any danger. Yu Linqi nodded, suddenly a little embarrassed. Uncle, I made you laugh. Haha, human relations are understandable. Turning his head, a smile of approval appeared on his face. Mingcheng, after I came out of seclusion, a lot of people praised you. After Wan Yuan Hui came down, Kongshan Fang's Dingguo increased nearly 100 times. Talents emerged in large numbers, and the talent was like rain. You are indispensable. The disciple has low qualifications. He was taken into the disciple by his mentor when he was still young. He taught hard and showed deep kindness and kindness. The disciple will never forget it. Later, he was valued by the teacher and served as the magistrate of Kongshanfang. He knew well that the responsibility was heavy and the disciple had low magical power. He only if you are diligent in political affairs and conscientious can you live up to the virtues taught and valued by your teacher, Zhao Mingcheng said respectfully. Smiled and nodded. Too many people say it's easy but are timid when doing it. It's good if you can combine knowledge with action and be diligent and sincere. I don't dare to praise you as a teacher. These are what disciples should do. It's one thing to do it or not, but it's another thing to do it well. As a teacher, we have always believed that meritorious deeds must be rewarded and misdeeds must be punished. You are in charge of a multi-ethnic association in Xiangfang. You have made great achievements and made great contributions. You should be rewarded. After thinking for a moment, Su Junming spread his palms. A hill covered with clouds and fog emerged. Seeing it, Zhao Mingcheng looked excited and blurted out, "Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven." Su Junming smiled and nodded. "This treasure can only be given to direct disciples, but this time I think you have done a great job, so I give it to you." Looking at the hill slowly floating in front of him, Zhao Mingcheng became more and more excited. His family of 4, his wife, son and daughter are all direct descendants, and they all have Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven, and he has long known its mystery. But since he is a registered disciple, he can only look at the world and sigh. Now that I finally have the opportunity to get this long-awaited treasure, how can I not be happy? Don't just patronize silly Ellie, why don't you thank me uncle quickly, Yu Linky said quietly. Zhao Mingcheng was about to kneel down when he realized in an instant that he, the teacher, disliked these vulgar etiquette the most. He immediately bowed to the end and said, "Disciple, thank you teacher for giving me this treasure. I will work hard in the future and dedicate my life to my mountain." It's good if you have this intention. Next, you can temporarily step down from office and retreat for a period of time. It won't be too late to take office after breaking through Hunyuan. Disciple, obey. Kongshanfang is equivalent to the capital of the Chongshan realm of the Wilderness realm. As a high-ranking official in charge of this place, Deluo Jingxian's cultivation level is indeed low. This is one of the reasons why he rarely accepts invitations from others to go out for banquets. Afraid of embarrassing the sect. Although he was a registered disciple, Su Junming really liked this loyal disciple. After thinking for a moment, he spread his left hand and a porcelain bottle emerged. There are 72 Deluo Sanhuang Den inside, which are given to you to help you practice. Thank you teacher. Seeing her husband get the reward, Yu Linky was also happy. Uncle, it's rare for you to be like this. Why don't you let me cook a few side dishes and have a few drinks? Su Junming was about to agree when he suddenly felt something strange. In a few days, I still have some things to deal with. Although a little disappointed, the couple did not dare to say anything more. With a few final words of encouragement, Su Junming activated the space talisman and disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already inside the cave in Chongshan Mountain. Sensing his aura, a milky white spiritual light flashed over, and Feng Qi's figure was revealed after landing. Why are you back so soon? Come with me. Walk towards the fairy island on the left. After passing through the island protection barrier, you can see the vast aura rising into the sky. The crimson aura is filled with strong fluctuations of the fire element and an astonishing vitality. Rumble. Thunder rolled, and vast calamity energy rushed in. You can see that in the bright light, a golden shadow looks like a swimming fish, moving rapidly in the aura. From a distance, it looks extremely agile. Such a powerful thunder tribulation was born in the realm of Hunyuan Golden Immortal. This qualification is really enviable. After Feng Qi finished speaking, he turned to look at Su Junming. Is this your new disciple again? Shaked his head. The foundation of Chongshan Academy has been laid, and I no longer intend to accept any more disciples. What about this person? Leave it to Zhang Shinian. He is now Lord Hongmeng and is suitable to be his master. It's indeed suitable. But where did you find a disciple with such strong qualifications? Su Junming's eyes flashed as he looked at the small figure swinging a huge flame flag to resist the catastrophe. He is Zhuge Wenchen, the former leader of Xiang section. I see. You don't seem too surprised. Why are you surprised? Are you asking why you would turn a former enemy into your disciple? That's why I'm curious. She rolled her eyes at him and said, Sister told me that you have always been the kind of person who makes decisions before taking action without leaving any trouble. Since you keep this person, it means that he will not pose any threat to you or Changshan. Su Junming smiled and said, Nu Wa really knows me very well. Feng Qi smiled and said, if I don't understand you, how can I let you fall in love with me? After a pause, his eyes suddenly became softer. It can be foreseen that if my cultivation level is known to those naughty girls like Nu 11 and Ling Wa, they will definitely come to my door as soon as possible, stay and live with you, and cultivate every day. When the time comes, I will hug you from left to right. Enjoy endless happiness. Su Junming listened, and although his expression was calm, there was a faint movement in his heart. Including Nuwa and Fenki, there are 9 people in total. Isn't it a bit too much? Before he could recover, he felt a sudden pain in his waist. Feng Qi's expression no longer had the previous infinite charm, and became gritted teeth. Sister is right, you are indeed a pervert. Boom. Suddenly, thunder amplified dozens of times than before, interrupting the communication between the two. Looking subconsciously, 8064 Hunyuan golden immortal tribulations in mid-air had been eliminated, and the huge thunder power slowly disappeared. But this is not the end. Soon, a powerful inner demon energy descended from the sky. Su Junming flicked his fingers, and a mirror light flew into the golden aura like lightning. Even if the projection of the Dian Divine Mirror does not need to be activated, it only has a passive effect, and it has a great blessing effect on the mind. Fenki returned to the trouble, but she didn't know the importance. Seeing that the tribulation was at its most dangerous, she also became silent. Can he get through? He is Zhuge Wenchen's scattered soul, which was formed by combining Hongmen's creation spirit water and Kongqing Shenzi medicinal energy. Although he has Zhuge Wenchen's legacy, he has not inherited his memory. So, this is an innate God without entanglement of cause and effect. That's right. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1247. Staring at the figure shrouded in endless golden light, Feng Qi pondered for a moment. Since he is Zhuge Wenchen's San Shai Yuan Shen, combined with Hongmen's creation spirit water and Kongqing Shenzi medicinal energy, and contains the 3 characteristics of flame, creation, and alchemy, he is more suitable to worship under Hongyuan sect and practice heavenly craftsmanship. Dao. And compared to Zhang Shinian, Hongyuan has much fewer disciples. After Su Junming pulled out many shadow realms derived from the ancient world from the turbulence of time, in addition to Nuwa who turned herself into a sister and became the famous 9 goddess of Changshan, including Zhen Yuanzi, Zhang Shinian, Hongyuan and other disciples all chose to turn them into their own disciples. Among them, Zhen Yuanzi and Zhang Shinian had the most disciples, and they were basically outside the 11 or 12. After all, although the shadow world has changed greatly, monks such as Zhen Yuanzi and Shen Nang, who are otherworldly, have basically survived. Monks like Hongyun who died in the ancient times, except for a few exceptions, do not exist in most of the shadow world. The same is true for Qiyu. Therefore, they have the least number of disciples, basically 1 or 2. Moreover, Hongyun is a disciple of Tiangong Taoist and majors in Tiangong Taoism. The essence of Tiangong Tao is a collection of branch Tao methods such as alchemy, weapon refining, sacrificial formations, and puppets. A true smooth road to heaven. Although this little guy born in the heart has the characteristics of nature and is suitable for alchemy, he is still a flame at all. He has a hot temper for sure. Hongyun has a mellow and peaceful personality and is sincere. He is suitable for disciples with similar temperaments to him, but he is not suitable for teaching this little guy. On the contrary, Zhang Shinian is calm and dignified, generous but not bottom line. He is the most suitable teacher candidate. But Zhang Shinian's main Taoist practice is Aoki Tao Feng Qi said. He also majors in alchemy. You plan to let this little guy major in Flame Dao and Alchemy Dao. Pure flames are too overbearing and need to be tempered by alchemy. After a pause, he said in a deep voice, I don't want Xuezhanjiang's story to happen again. Xuezhanjiang was one of the first disciples that Su Junming accepted after he established the Buzhu Mountain sect in the prehistoric world. He majored in the Tao of Flames. He was the second disciple besides Feng Zhanjian to receive all the teachings from the lower, middle, upper, and main courtyards of Chongshan Academy, and became the direct disciple of Hunyuan. He has always valued this famous and expert true heir, and has always taught him with all his heart. It's a pity that when he overcame the tribulation and achieved Hongmeng, his mind was unstable and he couldn't survive the inner demon tribulation. Although he saved part of his soul, it would still take more than a dozen soul sessions to turn around again. And because the soul is incomplete, even if he comes back, he will no longer be the Xuezhanjiang he used to be. This incident has always been deeply remembered in his mind. After years of analysis, there are many reasons. Although not the entire reason for the influence of the way of fire on the character, it is also the main reason. When it comes to overcoming a tribulation, any tiny factor may affect the outcome, so you have to consider it in advance. I admit that your considerations are reasonable, but alchemy practice requires fine control and a peaceful mind. Are you sure he can do it? Looking at the golden light group that had overcome the inner demon tribulation and was absorbing spiritual energy, Su Junming's eyes became profound. I believe Zhang Shinian can control him. He knew this disciple who had followed him for dozens of Yuan Hui circles very well. As he spoke, the golden light group absorbed all the spiritual energy of creation and turned into a bolt of spiritual light and lightning. When the two of them got closer, the golden light dissipated, revealing a little baby about 6 or 7 years old standing on a golden red flag that looked like a flame. He was wearing a red waistcoat and half-length golden shorts, exposing Qishang Sixiu's calves and bare feet. The chubby little face is adorable, and the big round eyes are wandering around. He is obviously an elf. A 3-inch braid that reaches the sky adds a bit of cunning to it. The 2 dots between the eyebrows, one white and one blue, reveal a bit of mystery. What a cute little doll. Feng Qi's maternal instinct exploded in her heart. The little doll just glanced at him, and then his eyes were fixed on Su Junming, and then endless admiration rose from his eyes. His knees bent and he knelt down. Teacher. In the past, when he was not yet reincarnated, Su Junming preached to him many times and taught him the Dharma inherited from Chongshan. From this point of view, he indeed deserves the title of master. It's a pity that Su Junming no longer plans to accept disciples. Good boy, get up quickly. With a flick of his sleeves, he lifted up the little guy with invisible strength. I am not your master, but your master. Master? Master's master. That's right. It's impossible. I clearly felt master's aura exactly the same as yours. Haha, idiot. We are direct descendants of Chongshan Academy. Our majors in martial arts are similar, and the aura is of course the same. The little guy scratched his head. Is that so? Certainly. Su Junming only imparted to him the knowledge of cultivation, and did not explain to him much knowledge about spells, weapon refining, etc. Although he felt it was not quite right, he did not refute it. He turned his eyes and looked at Feng Qi next to him. Then she is my master. Neither is he. After saying this, Su Junming activated the Dian mirror, and the bright mirror light quickly transformed into a figure wearing an earthy yellow linen robe, a gold belt around his waist, a red gourd hanging on his feet, with dark skin and a bun on his head. A middle-aged man with a solemn expression. Zhang Shinian meets the teacher has a long life. After years of hard training, with the help of Dian Divine Mirror and Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven, he has now successfully survived the catastrophe and achieved Hongmeng. At this moment, he is not his true body, but a projection of his soul brought by the Dian Divine Mirror. After smiling and nodding, I haven't seen you for a few years, and your cultivation has improved again. Without the spiritual treasure and magic elixir given by the teacher and the years of hard teaching, the disciple would not have improved so quickly. Haha, we have been masters and disciples for many years, so forget these compliments. I came to you this time to find you a good disciple. Zhang Shinian had long noticed the little guy next to him with braids that towered over the sky. After confirming his guess from his mentor, he turned around and looked around, his eyes brightening. Naturally, he could tell that this little guy had extraordinary qualifications. How's it going? Not bad, right? Not only is it good, it's simply great. The qualifications of the Hongmeng holy body are almost at their peak. If nothing goes wrong in the future, promotion to Hongmeng is a sure thing. If they truly grow up, the Grand Master will also have a great chance. As for the Supreme Master, some luck and opportunity will be needed, and Tianzun. Forget it, neither he nor Su Junming knew much about this powerful realm. Thank you, teacher, for taking this seriously. Disciples with Hongmeng qualifications are the top resources for those who are interested in passing on the Taoism. If left to fight for, no one would let it go. Now that this high-quality disciple was handed over to him by Su Junming, he certainly had reason to be happy. After smiling and nodding, Su Junming turned his head and looked at the little guy who was looking at Zhang Shinian curiously. Zhejian, why don't you go see the teacher quickly? Zhejian was the name given to him by Su Junming. Zhejian, me, the little guy pointed at his nose. Yes, the patriarch gave you a name. How about it, do you like it? The little guy smacked his mouth and said, it feels pretty good. After that, he looked at Su Junming and then at Zhang Shinian who looked calm next to him. The latter silently let go of his aura, and thanks to the tyranny of the Dian Divine Mirror, Zhang Shinian's aura was perfectly displayed. In Zhejian's eyes, the seemingly ordinary middle-aged man suddenly seemed to have turned into a growing mountain. It was getting higher and higher, getting bigger and bigger, gradually exceeding the limit of what he could understand, but the growth of this mountain still did not stop. Zhejian had a look of disbelief and awe on his face. How about it, am I qualified to be your master? His little body trembled, he nodded quickly and knelt on his knees. Disciple Zhejian, pay your respects to the teacher. Zhang Shinian nodded slightly and looked towards Su Junming. The direct disciple of Chongshan is accompanied by the three treasures. The sapphire staff, storage gourd, and Xiao Chongshan cave heaven were all refined by Su Junming himself and then given to him. The inner disciples and outer disciples are refined by Chongshan Academy's own weapon refiners. Su Junming had prepared the treasure long ago, but he did not give it directly to Zhejian. Instead, he gave it to Zhang Shinian first, and then asked him to give it to him. Only in this way can the bond between master and apprentice be established as soon as possible. Seeing Zhejian, who was overjoyed to have the treasure, Su Junming waved. Little guy, come here. The little guy looked at the teacher. Master and ancestor are calling, hurry up and get over. Zhang Shinian smiled and patted his head. Only then did Zhejian urge Deng Guang to come over. You guy, you were hesitant when I asked you to become a disciple just now. Now that you have the treasure, you are very obedient. There was a trace of embarrassment on the little guy's face. Patting his little head, he spread his right palm, and a simple and unusual square bronze mirror emerged. The mysterious aura instantly caught the little guy's attention. This treasure is called the Dian Divine Mirror, and it is the most important treasure of our Chongshan Academy. Only direct disciples can inherit it. Today, if you are a disciple, I will give you a copy. With a wave of his right hand, the bronze mirror turned into a divine light and disappeared in the little guy's dantian instantly. He subconsciously looked at his lower abdomen, and after realizing his recklessness, he came back to his senses and looked inside his dantian. Sure enough, a square bronze mirror with a mysterious aura was floating in the middle of the dantian. The flame god flag, which originally occupied the center and was also his companion, was pushed aside by this bronze mirror. Although he didn't know much about cultivation, he was intelligent by nature and instantly understood that this bronze mirror was even more powerful than his own treasure. And those treasures given by the teacher just now are not as good as my own treasures in terms of breadth. In this way, the value of this bronze mirror can be easily measured. Seeing his happy look, Su Junming smiled and said, "How about it? The treasure given by the ancestor is not bad, right?" The little guy nodded vigorously. "Thank you, Patriarch." Su Junming's expression became solemn, and his voice reached Zhejian's ears like thunder, carrying a powerful warning. "Remember, the Dian Divine Mirror is an important treasure of my Chongshan. Unless I am a disciple of Chongshan, you are not allowed to tell any monk the name and function of this treasure. If you violate it, you will be punished without mercy." The little guy shivered with fright. "Disciples don't dare. Remember what you said today, I don't want to take your life with my own hands in the future." Zhejian nodded repeatedly, looking at the vigilant face of his ancestor with lingering fear. "Okay, he is still a child, why do you, the master, scare him?" Feng Qi's maternal nature exploded. After giving Su Junming a blank look, he brought the frightened little guy to his side and comforted him warmly. "Don't be afraid, your master has a sharp mouth and a soft heart. No one can protect a calf better than him." After saying this, he spread his right hand, and a white lotus seed emerged. The rich charm of good fortune seemed to be smoothed by a clear spring. Zhejian was filled with fear in his heart. Looking at Lianzi curiously, "What is this?" "This is the lotus seed born from the 12th grade white lotus with my natal spiritual root. It contains the charm of creation and has endless wonderful uses. I will give it to you today, and you will nourish it with your magic power in the future. When it grows up, it will be a rare spiritual root of creation." "Thank you, Master." Zhejian could feel the rich vitality of creation contained in the lotus seeds. Teacher's wife. Zhang Shinian's heart moved, and his eyes quickly swept over the teacher and Feng Qi. They have always known that Nuwa is the master's wife, and now there is another one. However, he couldn't talk about the teacher's private matters. Stone Year. Zhang Shinian, who was immersed in his own thoughts, suddenly had an idea and said quickly, "Teacher, what are your orders?" After all, the spiritual power of the Chongshan True Realm is not as good as that of the Manghuang Great Realm, so come here. Disciple, obey. Since being promoted to Lord Hongmeng, he has also clearly felt that the spiritual energy in the Chongshan True Realm is no longer as rich as he originally felt. Although all Chongshan disciples who are promoted to Hongmeng practice in the Chaos Stone Ball and do not consume the spiritual energy of the Chongshan True Realm, the Chaos Stone Ball is only a low-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure, and the transformed chaos energy is not too rich, at least compared to Don't Go to the Wild World. It will be more beneficial for the future to come here to practice. The master of the Kingland Pavilion in Kongshanfang is called Ge Yali. He is a disciple of the inner sect of the Kingland Pavilion. He is steady but not flexible. He is a sophisticated but thoughtful guy. Although Hunyuan Suingxian's cultivation level is not top-notch in the vast world, he is still a good player. It is precisely because of this that Sima Fan, the master of Kingland Pavilion, was sent here to explore the secrets of Chongshan Academy. However, this calm guy is now like an ant on a hot pot, pacing back and forth in the secret room of Kingland Pavilion, his face full of anxiety and uneasiness. Dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Who? Pavilion Master, it's me. Den Lun. With a flick of his finger, a burst of spiritual light lifted the restriction. Come in. Accompanied by a slightly hoarse friction sound, a young man wearing a black robe and a slender face stepped in. See the Pavilion Master. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted. Is there any news from the young master? We have used all our connections, but there is still no news about the young master. Ge Yali's face turned pale. No, how could it not be? This is Chongshan Shu. His body trembled, and his face became increasingly ugly. Seeing this, the young man named Den Lun said cautiously, Pavilion Master, you. He took a deep breath and waved his hand. Go down and pull back all the people sent out. Although he was puzzled, he didn't dare to say anything based on the other party's expression. He quickly responded and walked out in a hurry. The room returned to calm again, and Ge Yali suddenly understood. Before the young master's accident, the two of them had been paying attention to Zhao Ming Cheng, the magistrate of Kongshanfang, and this was Chongshan Academy. To make it disappear silently, it was probably someone from Chongshan who took action. But he didn't understand why the other party didn't touch Kingland Pavilion. Don't you want the matter to be exposed? After groaning for a while, he patted the magic bag, and a jade saucer flew out. This is what the young master gave him when he left. The words are still in his ears. After giving the disciple a few words, he quietly left the Kingland Pavilion and walked out of the Chongshan Fang gate in fear. Ge Yali did not dare to neglect and quickly activated the escape light. Flying towards the west desperately. In a mysterious space where he couldn't see, Su Junming stood with his hands behind his hands, calmly looking at the retreating figure, without any intention of stopping him. In 1 Yuanhui time, Chongshan Academy had completely digested Xiang province. It's time to continue expanding. However, if the master is unknown, it will easily attract the vigilance of all the surrounding forces. But if Kingland sect is allowed to take action on its own, the situation will be different. It's best to attract the immortals, just to get rid of it once and for all. The area of the immortal clan's secret realm is 100 times that of Chongshan Dazhu. If it can be integrated with Chongshan Dazhu, it will be enough for Chongshan to absorb hundreds of yuan. After 100 yuanhui, if he cooperates with the time method, he will probably be able to advance to the peak of Hongmeng Grand Master, and can prepare for the breakthrough of Hongmeng Grand Master in the future. It took several years to reach the edge of the Chongshan state, and then through the vast sea of clouds and mist, another huge land appeared in front of us. This is a huge continent that is full of vitality and nearly twice the size of Chongshan continent. In the vast world of wilderness, it is called the Kingland state. Unlike the former Xiang state, the entire Kingland state was ruled by the Kingland sect. One of the 3,000 sections, there are 2 Hongmeng Shangzun in the door. One of them is the sect leader True Lord Qingyuan Sima Fan, and the other is the Supreme Elder True Lord Qinghong Zhao Yuan Kaiu. The existence of these 2 people ensured the hegemony of the Kingland sect's nearly 10,000 yuan society. However, it needs to be emphasized that Sima Fan is the son-in-law of Qinghong Zhenjun Zhao Yuan Kaiu, which is the main reason why the 2 of them can accommodate 2 tigers in one mountain. Entering Kingland Dazhu, Ge Yali breathed a sigh of relief, finally feeling safe in his heart. He activated his escape method and went deep into the big state. As far as he could see, there were giant trees that had grown for hundreds of millions of years and were extremely tall, reaching into the sky. The rich Aoki aura fills every corner of the state. After flying for an unknown amount of time, a gigantic tree appeared at the end of the sky. He was still very young at the beginning, but Ge Yali, the Hunyuan Xianxian, flew for 3 years before he really got close. At this time, the full picture of the giant tree could no longer be seen. As far as the eye could see, branches like horned dragons were rising into the sky. Even the smallest branch was tens of millions of feet thick. A leaf is as big as a vast world. What's even more exaggerated is that its main pole has a diameter of hundreds of millions of feet, like a giant pillar reaching into the sky. Kinglan Sek stands on this huge tree. Su Junming is also familiar with the name of this giant tree. Jianmu Sacred Tree. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1248. Chapter 1226 Sima Fan and Yu Chang'an. In Chongshan town, Su Junming also has a Jianmu sacred tree, which serves as the spiritual root that supports the world. Its size is even larger than that of the Kinglan sect. However, the existences that can support a Hongmeng true realm are all vast and majestic sacred trees. As a direct disciple of the Kinglan sect, Ge Yali has lived in the Jianmu sacred tree for many years, so he is naturally familiar with the road. He activated the escape light and soon reached the edge of the canopy. After making a seal with both hands, an emerald green token flew out of the dantian. The latter shot out a spiritual light, and a layer of light suddenly appeared in the originally empty mid-air. When the token aura touched it, a gap quickly opened. Ge Yali quickly flew into it. Arriving at the canopy of the tree, unexpectedly, there was no feeling of darkness at all. Instead, the sky was flashing with a rich emerald light. The soft light was like the quiet and bright moonlight, illuminating everything around it. Moreover, the Aoki spiritual energy here is far stronger than outside. You can see the jungle in the distance, as if it were a real world. Strangely, countless monks were walking in and out of the jungle. They do not have the common pavilions, but live in tree holes. Those mammoth trees with a diameter of several hundred feet or tens of thousands of feet have tree holes as big as Gaoxiaguangtang. They are also full of vitality, natural and interesting, and unique. This is also a characteristic of the entire Kinglan continent, and it is somewhat famous throughout the entire Manghuan continent. Ge Yali was used to the scenery of Kinglan sect, so he didn't think it was anything. Across hundreds of millions of miles of void, we went straight to where the main wooden pole was. The main pole at this moment is like a huge wall with no end in sight, thick, vast, and full of amazing vitality. Ge Yali activated his dantian token, and a green spiritual light enveloped his whole body, and then he stepped forward. The body seemed to be a mass of running water and soon submerged into the main rod. After only a moment, they came to an extremely spacious river. The raging river water rose into the sky at an alarming speed, driving Ge Yali upward quickly. The entire Jianmu sacred tree has been enacted by the Kinglan sect, with a total of 39,692 layers of forbidden laws from top to bottom. The area of each level is no smaller than that of the Hunyuan world. Hundreds of billions of disciples of the Kinglan sect and their families live on this huge tree. The only way to span each canopy is to build wooden main poles. The Kinglan sect used tree veins as the basis and combined them with formations to create 39.6 million water slides. No magic power was needed, and it was easy to go up and down just by relying on the flow of tree veins. However, the higher you go, the stronger the restriction becomes, and the higher the status of the monk. As a Hunyuan Xianxian, Ge Yali's authority is second only to the superior sect leader and supreme elder. Soon we reached the top. After exiting the tree veins, a vast world appeared in front of them. The sun is shining brightly above, and the vast true fire of the sun is raging. The green clouds below spread on the ground like a green floor. The thick green wood spiritual energy is more than 10,000 times richer than the bottom layer. In the endless cloud light, several majestic and handsome mountains loomed ahead, with birds singing, flowers fragrant, and beautiful trees growing in the woods. Ge Yali had been here several times, and soon traveled tens of thousands of miles and landed on a vast cloud platform. He cupped his fists and saluted with a respectful tone. "Disciple Ge Yali, please see senior brother Xiantian." The sound continued, and after a moment, the clouds in front suddenly fluctuated, and soon transformed into a human form. This person was wearing a green cloak, with long snow-white hair draped behind his shoulders. He had a handsome face, slender ears, and a tall figure, with a faint fluorescent light shining in his narrow eyes. The deep pupils are like an abyss, making people afraid to pry into them. Although the strong and powerful aura has been well controlled, the occasional leak will make Ge Yali feel in awe. He quickly bowed and saluted. Ge Yali meets senior brother Xiantian. Xiantian Lord Sun Sun is the direct disciple of Sima Fan, the leader of Kinglan sect, Qingyuan true lord with the perfect cultivation of Hunyuan golden immortal. He is only one step away from becoming Hongmeng. Now, Sima Fan, who has taken the place of seclusion, is in charge of the management of Kinglan section. Just wait for him to break through Hongmeng and take over the position of leader. As for the young master Sima Nan, although he is also a strong contender for the position of head, his cultivation level is much worse than that of Xiantian Lord Sun Sun. Although he has a chance to break through Hongmeng, his foundation is not as solid as Sun Sun. More importantly, Sun Sun is also Sima Fan's son-in-law. The in-law inheritance of Kinglan sect seems to have become a routine since the old sect leader, true Lord Qinghong Zhao Yuan Kaiu. However, this is good, as it not only attracts elite talents, but also avoids disputes within the sect. Internal stability is also an important reason why the Kinglan sect earns tens of thousands of yuan and is proud of its rapid development. If you're not on duty at Kongshanfang, why are you back? Senior brother, the young master is missing. This disciple came back specifically to report to the sect master. Sun Sun's eyes flashed, and his tone did not know whether he was happy or angry. Junior brother Sima is missing. Yes. Ge Yali did not dare to neglect, and quickly explained the cause and effect. Give me the jade slip left by my junior brother. Although Sima Nan emphasized that it should be handed over to Sima Fan, the sect leader, he did not have the guts to offend Sun Sun, who would succeed the sect leader in the future. After taking it and looking at it twice, his expression remained unchanged and he handed it back to Ge Yali. Come with me. After responding respectfully, under the leadership of Sun Sun, they got off the cloud platform and flew straight towards the mountains in the distance. The beautiful mountains and rivers are getting closer and closer, but unfortunately Ge Yali, who is worried in his heart, has no intention to appreciate them at all. The two came to the middle of the mountain, and then stopped in front of a 100-foot-tall maple-like tree on the top of the mountain. Feeling the powerful greenwood spirit on the maple tree, Ge Yali understood in his heart and bent down unconsciously. When he arrived here, Sun Sun's expression became respectful. Disciple Sun Sun asks to see his mentor. The sounds condensed into a line and flew straight towards the maple tree. After a while, the maple tree that had been standing still suddenly started to move. The center of the tree trunk suddenly expanded outward, and soon a hole 7 feet wide and 1 foot high appeared. The green color inside is so deep that you can't see the reality clearly. Come in. A deep and majestic voice sounded in their ears. Junior brother Ge, come on. Ge Yali nodded, took a deep breath, and followed Sun Sun in. Although it was not his first time here, it was his first time to come to the master's retreat place. After entering the tree hole, a light flashed before his eyes, and he soon appeared in a space that was 100 acres in size. The top, bottom, left and right here are filled with light cyan aura. Aoki's spiritual energy is 100 times deeper than the outside world. The profound and powerful King Mudaeyun made Ge Yali want to sit down and comprehend it. Of course, it's just a thought. Surrounded by endless cyan aura, a middle-aged man wearing a light cyan robe, with bare feet, long hair hanging casually behind his back, green eyebrows, deep eyes, and a majestic look appeared in front of the two of them. Seeing him, Ge Yali fell to his knees with a guilty conscience. Disciple Ge Yali is ashamed of the sect master and does not think highly of the young master. Please punish the sect master. Sima Fan frowned and turned to look at Sun Suan. How is your junior brother's soul lamp? This disciple has not been summoned by the ancestral master hall. Apparently, junior brother's soul lamp is still safe and sound. If the soul lamp is intact, it means that the person is still alive. Turning to look at Ge Yali, tell me all the cause and effect. Not daring to neglect, he quickly told everything about what happened after meeting Sima Nan, and then took out the jade plate. When the young master left, he specifically told him that if he could not come back, he would give this jade slip to the sect master. Sima Fan waved and the jade slip fell into his hand. His spiritual consciousness invaded it, and he soon discovered the unique seal his son had left in it, and also added a ray of his own soul. Nanner is very cautious. With this ray of soul, he can be resurrected even if he dies. After receiving this ray of soul and releasing the restriction, the contents of the jade slip were also reflected in the sea of consciousness. There wasn't much content in it, but the few lines of spiritual patterns made Sima Fan's heart move. He lost control of his emotions for a moment and his face suddenly changed. Besides you, who else has seen this jade slip? Ge Yali looked at Sun Suan subconsciously. The latter bowed and saluted. This disciple has seen it, but when he saw that his junior soul was inside, he didn't rush to open the seal. Sima Fan nodded. The seal left by Sima Nan was based on his soul. Unless he was proficient in space Taoism and could bypass the seal, no one would be able to see its contents unless it was unlocked. Besides your senior brother, has anyone else seen it? The disciple waited for a month in Kongshanfang, and when he didn't see the young master, he rushed back to the sect with the jade plate covered with stars and moon. No one saw it again, Ge Yali swore. He is not stupid. From the change in the sect master's expression, it can be seen that he attaches great importance to this jade plate. Of course, Ge Yali must take away his own responsibilities. Otherwise, if the sect leader gets angry, his life may be lost. Deep eyes with no hint of joy or anger swept over him. Ge Yali felt as if two sharp daggers were swiping across his body. He felt fear in his heart and cold sweat broke out on his back. Go back, be careful to hide your whereabouts, and don't let the people in Chongshan see anything strange. Ge Yali felt as if he had been pardoned. This disciple will obey the orders and will never disappoint the sect leader's expectations. Go ahead. He stood up quickly and stepped back respectfully. Sooner, you can go down too. Disciple, obey. Etc. The two stopped quickly. What happened today must not be told outside, especially your master's wife. Do you understand? Disciple, obey. The two of them exited the tree hole. After Ge Yali said hello, they left quickly. He wished that he would not get involved in these troubles and would not stop at all. This is not the case with Sun Suan. His status is much higher than that of Ge Yali, so he naturally has more considerations. Looking at the tree hole that was closed again, thinking about the change in the teacher's expression before, I became more and more curious about the contents. Although I don't know what is written in it, it must be related to Chongshan Academy. Subconsciously, he thought of the news he knew about Chongshan. Su Junming is not a simple figure who can sweep across Xiang State and make it impossible to pour water out of his business and prevent his needles from entering. If we fight against him, our Kinglan sect may not be sure of victory, and we may not be able to win. There is a risk of overthrow. Thinking of this, his brows furrowed, and a deep worry gathered in his heart. However, although he is the direct disciple of Kinglan sect, he has not broken through Hongmeng. He is not qualified to participate in such a major event that determines the future of the sect. After Ge Yali and Sun Suan left, the forbidden law was restored, and peace was completely restored in the tree hole space. Holding the jade plate in his hand, his face showed a hint of disbelief again. However, he believed that his son would never lie to him about such a major matter. Moreover, Sima Nan's disappearance itself confirmed what the jade disc contained. With Nanner's cultivation, being able to capture him without any movement would only be possible if he had to be a powerful Hongmeng. So, it was Su Junming who took action. Haha, I was originally worried about how to figure out this person's strength and the details of Chongshan Academy, but now it seems that there is no need. With the strength of the Immortal Clan, plus my Kinglan sect, it is enough to sweep Chongshan Academy. Incorporating Chongshan Dazu into our Kinglan sect will bring our sect's strength to a higher level. I became more and more excited thinking about my success. As the leader of the Kinglan sect, what he wants to do most is to expand the power of the Kinglan section. Only in this way can he gather stronger luck and help him break through the great master Hongmeng in the future. As for his son Sima Nan, since he is not dead now, it means that Su Junming will not kill him so quickly. He had enough time to plan. Thinking of this, I have no intention of retreating anymore. He activated his escape technique and quietly exited the tree hole space. After leaving Kinglan Pavilion, he flew straight towards the secret realm of the Immortal Clan above the 9 heavens. Because of the good relationship between the two parties, he has been to the Fairyland's secret realm many times and is very familiar with it. Moreover, he has been a close friend of Yu Chang'an, the leader of the Immortal Clan for many years, and it was easy for him to meet this old friend whom he had not seen in dozens of Yuan Hui in the Huangji Palace. How come fellow Taoist Sima has the leisure to come to my Huangji Palace? I am very quiet and thinking. I am worried that I have not seen my old friend for many years, so I came here for a leisurely trip. I hope my fellow Taoist will not blame me for disturbing him. What are you saying, old friend? You and I have been close friends for many years. I am not happy that you can come, so why should I blame you? Please come quickly. Please. The two walked into the Huangji Palace together, and sat down respectively as guest and host. Yu Chang'an ordered the disciples to serve tea and cakes, and then they had a feast with each other. Stopped in tacit agreement. They keep talking about it, but they have known each other for many years, and they both understand that they both have the kind of temperament that will not go to the Three Treasures Palace for anything. By this time, Sima Fan was no longer polite. Old friend, do you know about Chongshan Academy? Naturally. Su Junming, the master of Chongshan Academy, Taisha Chongshan True Monarch, is rumored to claim to be able to refine Hongmeng's spiritual treasures and spiritual pills. However, this has never been confirmed since the beginning of the Duanhui Association. Most of them are lies and exaggerations. However, this person, if you can sweep across Xiang State, you probably still have some strength. By the way, my old friend's Kinglan State is adjacent to it, and he deliberately mentioned this person. Is there something new? Sima Fan smiled. Our Kinglan sect has tried many methods to verify the ability to refine the Hongmeng spiritual treasure and spiritual pill, but we have not received any strong evidence. However, by accident, we have obtained a confidential matter related to fellow Taoist. About me? Yu Chang'an frowned slightly. He knew that although his old friend had a somewhat unruly temperament, he was not someone who told lies. Exactly. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1249. Yu Chang'an stared at his old friend closely, and he didn't look like he was cheating. Fellow Taoist, please speak clearly. Sima Fan smiled and said, I still remember before the Iwan meeting, the 27th girl from my old friend's sect, named Yu Linky, was abducted by a monk from a clan and has been missing since. Yu Chang'an's expression darkened. This is a scandal for the Immortal Clan, especially for his daughter. It's weird to be happy when someone mentions it. It is indeed true. My fellow Taoist mentioned this, but do you have any clues about the evil obstacle? Yu Chang'an asked casually. Old friend, it's true. Yu Chang'an's body trembled slightly, and there was a hint of anxiety and doubt in his tone. Is what my old friend said true? You and I have known each other for thousands of dollars, and you know my character well. How could I lie in front of you about such an important matter? And making up such a lie that can be exposed immediately will not do me any good. Yu Chang'an thought the same thing. It's too easy to ask for proof for this kind of thing. I wonder where my friend is outside the territory and got clues about my evil deeds. Outside the territory? No, not outside the territory, but in Kongshanfang, Chongshan Dazhu. Impossible, Yu Chang'an blurted out. Seeing that he didn't believe it, Sima Fan handed over Sima Nan's jade slip. Yu Chang'an took it and took a look, his expression became more solemn and unbelievable. The content here was left by my son Sima Nan. He found clues about Zhao Mingcheng in Kongshanfang and wanted to confirm it with him. Unexpectedly, he never came back. He was too familiar with these three words Zhao Mingcheng. He subconsciously activated the Siming Lingbao, but after some deduction, it was shown that the two evil obstacles were still outside the territory. However, he also knew that the evil spirit also had a stronger destiny spirit treasure in his hand, otherwise he would not be able to escape his deduction. If this evil hand handed this treasure to a stronger monk, it was indeed possible, no, it was completely possible to hide it from his own deduction. How is your nephew's cultivation? He just advanced to Hunyuan Golden Immortal 30 million years ago. With the spiritual treasure I gave him, if he were Hunyuan Golden Immortal, even if he were to reach the perfect state of Hunyuan Golden Immortal, he wouldn't be able to defeat him. So, it was Su Junming, the master of Chongshan Academy, who did it? That's right. Only those in the Hongmeng realm can quickly capture the Hunyuan Golden Immortal who is accompanied by a low-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. Yu Chang'an nodded solemnly, recognizing his old friend's judgment. He groaned for a long time. Thank you to my old friend for traveling hundreds of millions of miles away to inform me of such important news. Yu Chang'an is deeply grateful. After clearing the door, I will come to express my gratitude in person. You're welcome, fellow Taoist. Chongshan Academy is also the great enemy of our Kinglan section. This time I came here not only to send a message, but also to form an alliance with my fellow Taoist. When the time comes, I, Kinglan, and the Immortal Clan will go to Chongshan to wipe out this great enemy. Jade Chang'an is incompetent. He didn't care much about Kongshan's territory, but he was determined to win the important treasure that could shield the mirror from his daughter's hands. If nothing unexpected happens, this must be a mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao. A middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao that involves the path of fate has too great a role. Old friends are willing to help, and Yu Chang'an is grateful. However, the Immortal Clan is not my family, and Kinglan is not an old friend. If you and I join forces, how to divide the interests must be made clear in advance. You really need to make it clear in advance. After a pause, I wonder what my old friend wants. All the treasures, books, and spiritual roots of Chongshan Academy, as well as all the treasures on Su Junming's body. Sima Fan breathed a sigh of relief. Then I, Kinglan Pavilion, want to worship the great mountain state. It's a deal. It's a deal. The two high-fived each other. Sima Fan continued, this is a serious matter. Would you like to discuss it with the powerful members of the clan? No need. Just Su Junming, you and I are enough, Yu Chang'an said confidently. Sima Fan frowned slightly. Although he felt that his old friend was a bit too much, he couldn't refute him openly. That being the case, old friend, when do you think it's best to take action? Of course, the faster, the better, Yu Chang'an said. Sima Fan nodded slightly. My Kinglan sect is not as powerful as my old friend. This time I will go back and discuss it with my father-in-law before replying to my fellow Taoist. But don't worry, it won't last more than 1,000 years. Yu Chang'an nodded. It was only 1,000 years, he was still waiting. After discussing it, Sima Fan quietly left without stopping. Returning to the Kinglan sect again, Sima Fan came to the top of the Jianmu sacred tree, looked at the huge tree in front of him, and bowed to salute. "Father, I'm here. I'll see you, Sima Fan." There was silence for a long time, and Sima Fan was not in a hurry, just stood there and waited. This wait lasts for 300 years. Looking at the big hole slowly emerging from the giant wooden main pole, Sima Fan's eyes trembled slightly and his expression was inexplicable. "Wonderful son-in-law, come in." Accompanied by the rich King Mudeo rhyme, an old voice came from the cave. After responding, Sima Fan stepped in. A light flashed before his eyes, and everything around him became clear again. What he saw upon entering was the same as his cave, surrounded by emerald green and shimmering fluorescent mist. The thick mist formed a lotus-shaped altar about 3 feet tall in the center. An old man wearing a light blue robe, with bare feet and a slightly fat figure, sat cross-legged on the altar. His beard and hair are all green, but his slightly fat face is glowing with fluorescence, making him look like a child. There was a hint of coldness in his deep eyes, which was intimidating. "Father, sir, I sincerely wish my father to break through to the great master as soon as possible." Sima Fan bowed and saluted, his tone was very respectful. "A good son-in-law doesn't need to be polite, just sit down." With a slight wave of his right hand, the clouds surged, and soon a lotus seat took shape. The subtle thing is that this lotus seat is much lower than the old man's lotus seat. Sima Fan seemed not to have seen this. He took a step forward, floated up, and sat down cross-legged. "My good son-in-law is not practicing in the cave, why do you come to my place for business?" "My father has a keen eye and has come here for something." "Oh. Father, please look." He handed Sima Nan the jade plate over again. After reading it, the old man raised his eyebrows and said, "Su Junming is so courageous that he even dares to arrest my own nephew, Zhao Yuankai. It is simply unreasonable." The conversation changed. "But this person is seeking his own death. How dare he take in a traitor from the immortal clan? With Yu Chang'an's nature, he will never let go of someone who is clearly trying to slap him in the face." As soon as he stopped talking, he looked at Sima Fan. "I remember that you have a close relationship with Yu Chang'an. The kid does have some friendship with him. So you suddenly came to the door, but you want to discuss with me, combine the Kinglan sect and the immortal clan Yu Chang'an, and use the power of both parties to destroy Su Junming and annex the Chongshan prefecture. Father is the person at the helm of our Kinglan section. Whether this matter can be done in the end depends on you, the old man, making the decision," Sima Fan said respectfully. Over the years, he had learned a lot about his old father-in-law's temperament. Even though he openly handed over the power of Kinglan sect to himself, as the supreme elder, he firmly controlled the Kinglan sect's spiritual root Jianmu. Coupled with the large number of disciples and cronies within the sect, his influence and control over the sect is still greater than that of his own sect leader. However, it has been many years since he became a Taoist, and although he has reached a high level of cultivation, he is already old and decayed. Trapped in the peak of Hongmeng Shangzun, thousands of dollars will not be able to break through. In contrast, I have entered the country many times in the past few years, and my cultivation has reached the late stage of Supreme Master Hongmeng. If I can swallow the Chongshan state this time, I can bring the Kinglan sect to a higher level, gain support from the sect's luck, and cultivate the speed must be faster." He believed that one day, he could surpass his old father-in-law and truly take charge of the Kinglan sect. Looking at Sima Fan with a respectful look, Zhao Yuankai smiled calmly after a moment of concentration. "Now that you are the head of the Kinglan sect, you can make the decision on this kind of matter." "Father, what are you talking about? You have gone through countless trials and tribulations and are rich in experience. Of course it is up to you to make the decision on such a major matter involving the killing of a section. Do you really think so? I won't dare to deceive you at all. In this case, I will go to Chongshan Academy to get Nanner back. The matter of the immortal clan has nothing to do with us, so let's leave it at that. My child obeys. Go down. Yes. After responding respectfully, Sima Fan retreated without hesitation. Looking at the retreating figure, Zhao Yuankai's eyes flickered, and he was obviously quite uneasy in his heart. After returning to his cave and activating the restriction, Sima Fan had a sneer on his face. The old guy has tried again and again, but he still hasn't given up. It's really difficult to deal with. However, I don't believe you can resist the opportunity to annex Chongshan Dazhu. In terms of ambition, Zhao Yuankai is no worse than him, otherwise he would not still be holding the power of Kinglan sect as the supreme elder. Therefore, Sima Fan did not force him. He believed that Zhao Yuankai would definitely come to him again. Sure enough, about 10 years later, the restrictions in his cave were triggered. He waved his hand to untie it, and a spiritual light flew into his hand. Come to the rainbow cave to see me. Smiling faintly, I thought it would take 100 years, but I didn't expect that I couldn't bear it so quickly. Standing up, Shi Shiren simply arranged his clothes and flew towards the Hongguan cave where Zhao Yuankai was retreating. The cave in Chongshan Mountain. Su Junming sat cross-legged by the lake, wearing a straw hat on his head and holding a green fishing rod in his hand, fishing quietly. A gust of fragrant wind floated over and she sat down next to him. Looking at the bare fishing rod without fishing line. The way you enjoy your leisure time is really special, Feng Qi said with a smile. The fun of fishing lies in catching, not in the fish. Of course, if a fish takes the bait on its own, I won't refuse. Unless you use your magic power to create it, where would the fish come from in this lake? Feng Qi sneered. Haha, have you ever? I'll find out soon after fishing. With a thought in his heart, a ray of light sank into the lake, and the originally turquoise water suddenly turned into a vast expanse of white. A raging river flows through the mist. Although it only looks like a few feet, it exudes an ancient, majestic, and powerful feeling. Feng Qi is a discerning person, and she feels the breath of destiny from it. Before she could speak, the scenery in the lake changed again. In the vast white river, billions of fish, large and small, appeared. Some of these fish are fiery red, some are earthy yellow, some are cyan, some are two-color, or even three-color, and their size and appearance are also different. However, there are the most solid-colored fish and very few variegated colors. It can be said that there is only one fish in a million. Feng Qi was also a monk in the middle stage of Hongmeng, and he quickly sensed the aura of laws from these fishes. The fiery red color represented the flame Daoyun, the cocky yellow color represented the Wu-Tu Daoyun, and those of variegated colors often cultivated multiple laws. Often the deeper the path, the bigger the fish. Look, is this fish coming soon? Su Junming's eyes were profound. Who are you plotting against? Feng Qi, who was familiar with his man, although he didn't understand his plan, he understood what he was doing. A plot, Su Junming shook his head, this is not a plot, this is a willing one taking the bait. While talking, I suddenly heard the sound of water. Two big blue fish jumped out of the water. A ray of light came from the end of Su Junming's fishing rod, turned into two fish hooks, and passed through the mouths of the two fishes. As if aware of the pain, the two fishes quickly began to struggle. But no matter how hard they struggle, it is difficult to get rid of the hook lock. Feng Qi couldn't help but observe and found that both fish were over a foot in size. The largest one is 3 feet 7 inches tall, but its body is mottled with scales and shows its age. Although it was hooked, the intensity of the struggle was far less than that of the 2 foot 9 inch big blue fish next to it. Judging from the auras on the two fishes, they are both in the Hongmeng realm, and their cultivation levels are still higher than theirs. Even Feng Qi was a little startled by the rich King Mu Dao Yun. Just when I was about to ask them where they came from, the sound of water came again, and a big fiery red fish flew out of the water and hung on the hook. Its size is also over 3 feet, but smaller than the largest one, only 3 feet and 3 inches. The strange thing is that the color of this big fiery red fish is not pure. It has some white scales on its body, but not many, just dozens of them. But just these dozens of white scales made Su Junming's fishing rod tremble. The struggle was more intense than the two herrings put together. There is even a group of bright lights, like mirror light, shooting out from it. But Su Junming's hand holding the fishing rod was like steel poured into iron. No matter how hard it struggled, it was difficult to get away from it. After struggling for a while, the three fish slowly weakened and hung quietly on the hook, motionless, as if they had accepted their fate. Who are they? Let me give you a hint first, and you will know later. After a pause, he said, by the way, how is the Tianxin Yinju sword I gave you refining? With the help of Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven, I have been able to practice the changes according to my heart, like an arm and a finger. That's good. Do you want to try the power of the Tianxin silver sword? Su Junming said with a smile. Feng Qi was very smart, and pointed at the three fish hanging on the hook with his slender hand. That's right. I guarantee that they are all rare opponents, just perfect for you to hone your skills. There was a hint of eagerness to try on Feng Qi's pretty face. Since being recalled from the film world by Su Junming, she has never fought with others. Now that her cultivation level has improved greatly, she has improved a lot compared to her original self. She also wants to know what level she has reached now. But she also knew that the aura of each of these three fish was better than hers. Based on her words, it was okay to deal with one of them, but if all three were up, they would be no match. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1250. The top of the sacred tree of the Qinglin sect. Supreme Elder Qinghong True Lord Zhao Yuan Kaiu, Qingyuan True Lord Qinglin sect leader Sima Fan, stood in front of him with dozens of elite disciples. Although there was silence, the spiritual communication between each other was very frequent. Because no one except Zhao Yuankaiu and Sima Fan knew why they were all summoned here. And it seemed like he was about to greet someone important. Time passed little by little. The sun is high in the sky, and the endless true fire of the sun is dispersed between the heaven and the earth, bringing endless vitality to the vast world of billions of miles. Suddenly, a ray of light that was as fast as lightning and spanned tens of thousands of miles flew from the nine heavens. The speed is so fast, it's almost like teleporting. Coming. Zhao Yuankaiu, who had the highest cultivation level, was the first to discover the traces, followed closely by Sima Fan, and finally the disciples from the Hunyuan Golden Immortal Realm behind him. After the stream of light crossed an endless distance, it stopped outside the Jianmu sacred tree. After the vast light dissipated, it revealed an extremely gorgeous carriage pulled by 9-10,000-foot-long dragons. Zhao Yuankaiu took off a jade medal from his waist and activated his magic. With the vast light, the forbidden magic on the Jianmu sacred tree quickly dissipated, and the dragon chariot flew in slowly. The thick, complicated, gorgeous car curtains engraved with powerful formations were opened, and countless streams of light flew out from them. When they landed, they transformed into 3,000 warriors wearing golden armor, all of whom were in the realm of Hunyuan Golden Immortal. These generals with helmets and armor quickly formed a military formation, guarding the carriages in the middle. Immediately afterwards, 72 beautiful fairy women wearing gorgeous palace attires, holding various magical instruments such as harps, flutes, and swords, walked out of the carriage. Each of the 72 women is a perfect existence of the Hunyuan Golden Immortal. Zhao Yuankaiu and Sima Fan looked at it, with a solemn expression in their eyes. Hunyuan Golden Immortal is only a high-level person in the vast world, not a powerful one. But being able to take out more than 3,000 people at once shows that the Immortal clan's background is far superior to that of their Kinglan sect. Another young man wearing a green robe, a jade belt around his waist, and a golden crown on his head, full of nobility, walked out of the carriage. After scanning the Kinglan sect with his deep eyes, he took a step to the side and lifted the curtain, revealing a golden cloud. Immediately afterwards, a middle-aged man wearing a golden robe, full of luxury, with a short beard on his chin and long hair hanging over his shoulders strode out. There was endless domineering power in his deep eyes. It is Yu Chang'an, the current leader of the Immortal clan. Seeing Zhao Yuankai and Sima Fan standing not far away, they took a step forward and got off the dragon carriage with a smile on their faces. "Thank you, fellow Taoist Zhao. Fellow Taoist Sima will personally greet you. Yu Chang'an is greatly honored." The two of them greeted him. "Fellow Taoist Jade has a distinguished status, and we, the Kinglan sect, should greet you with great courtesy," Zhao Yuankai said with a smile. After looking at him and then at Sima Fan, who was half a step behind, Yu Chang'an smiled playfully. "I came here in a hurry, so I only brought some common courtesy. I hope my two fellow Taoists will accept it." 72 maids came forward one after another, each holding a jade box in their hands. Although the seal is heavy and you can't see what's inside, you can guess something just by looking at the tyranny of the seal. Fellow Taoist Jade's extraordinary actions are admirable. "Please. Please." The three Hongmeng striders walked in front, followed by their disciples. As for the gifts, naturally the disciples below will hand them over. The main hall of the Kinglan sect is called the Kingmu Temple. It is located in the main pole of the Jianmu sacred tree. It has a vast space, rich spiritual energy, and is unique. Sitting upright, Yu Chang'an smiled and said, "I have long heard that Kinglan sect has a Jianmu sacred tree, which is one of the few spiritual roots in the world. Although it is of low grade, it has countless miracles. I thought it must be a bit exaggerated. Now it seems appropriate. Fellow Taoist, wonderful praise. Although the Jianmu spiritual root is good, how can it compare with the mystery of the Immortal clan's spiritual realm?" Zhao Yuankai said with a smile. After a few compliments to each other, Yu Chang'an, who had been thinking about the treasure he had loved for many years, took the initiative to speak. "Two fellow Taoists, have you made a decision about what you said last time?" Zhao Yuankai said with a smile, "As agreed between the virtuous son-in-law and the Taoist friends, our Kinglan sect will acquire Chongshan Dazhu, and the rest of the belongings will be allowed to be taken away by the Taoist friends. It's a deal. It's a deal. Don't know when to leave." After Zhao Yuankai thought about it for a moment, he said, "I would also like to ask fellow Taoists to give me 3 months to gather my disciples." March is a short period of time for the monk, so he only plans to gather disciples from the Deluo and Hunyuan realms. Coupled with the more than 3,000 Hunyuan golden immortals of the Immortal clan, it is enough to sweep away the disciples under the Hongmeng of Chongshan Academy and stabilize the situation. "That's fine, I'll wait for good news from fellow Taoist." After the two sides chatted for a while, Zhao Yuankai arranged for his disciples to prepare several residences for Yu Chang'an and settle down. Night. Jade Chang'an stood by the window, looking at the 3 moons above the sky, one big and 2 small, one white, one red, one green. In the vast world, there is only one sun, but there are 3 moons. The largest one is called Taiyin, the red one is called Swanyin, and the cyan one is called Shayin. The Taiyin star is the forbidden treasure of the Swanyin Jade Rabbit clan, a large clan in the wilderness, and outsiders are not allowed to get involved. Because it is powerful and never messes with karma, it is rarely provoked by anyone. Swanyin star and Shayin star are 2 sects mainly composed of human female cultivators. Each has 2 Hongmeng Shangzun. The two sects have formed an alliance with the Swanyan Jade Rabbit clan and have joined forces with each other to firmly occupy the territory. This large piece of blessed land. Among the 7 Hongmeng masters, no one can deal with them except the great master. A bunch of stinky bitches. Yu Chang'an's expression changed. When he traveled around the world, he suffered a lot from their losses. Dong dong. There was a knock on the door. A spiritual light popped up and the seal was removed. Come in. Yu Lingfei, wearing a gorgeous blue robe, stepped in. Father. No need to be polite. What do you want from me? Our spies who sneaked into Kongshanfang came to report and indeed found traces of the 27th sister. Click. Under the ups and downs of emotions, Yu Chang'an unconsciously used force and directly crushed the window sill that Jianmu had transformed into. After taking a deep breath, he waved his right hand and the window sill returned to its original state. Confirmed. 3 waves of spies have been confirmed. Okay, very good. A smile broke out on Yu Linkei's face. Ever since he got the news about Sima Fan, he had sent dozens of Hunyuan clan members from the Immortal clan who were proficient in investigation without stopping to secretly sneak into Kongshanfang to track down the clues about the 2 villains. In order to avoid being noticed by people from Chongshan Academy, they moved very carefully, but fortunately they had the help of eyebrows and eyes, and finally found Yu Linkei and Xiaoming Cheng. Congratulations, father, for getting your wish, Yu Lingfei said quickly. It's too early to be happy now. Let's clear the roadblock of Chongshan Academy first. Although Chongshan True Lord Su Junming is extraordinary in strength, I believe that he is no match for his father. With the help of Kingland Pavilion, 27th sister will definitely be able to capture him. Yu Chang'an nodded slowly, he thought so too. How could a sect that was no more than a Yiwanhui sect compare to their immortal clan even if they had accumulated some experience before? The sky above Kongshanfang. Su Junming opened up a mustard space. Feng Qi sat cross-legged next to him. Behind them are Yang Mei, Feng Zhanjian, and Zhang Shinian. "Ms. Sir, do you want to catch these mice?" Feng Qi asked. Looking at the immortals who thought they were hiding well and the spies sent by the Kinglan sect, Su Junming slowly shook his head. It's just some fish and shrimp. It won't be too late to clean it up after the war begins. After finishing his words, Su Junming turned around. This is also a rare opportunity for you. If you use it well, it can save you tens of millions of years of hard work. Yang Mei, Feng Zhanjian, and Zhang Shinian's faces showed sparkling expressions. Ever since they became successful in cultivation, they have never had a fight with someone of the same level. Don't be careless. Although there are spiritual treasures given by me to suppress the formation, all those who come are powerful people who have been practicing in the Hongmeng realm for many years and have rich fighting experience. Don't be careless. Otherwise, it will cause trouble. Others will take advantage of you. Especially Yang Mei, your opponent is Yu Chang'an, the leader of the Immortal clan. With the Immortal clan's background, it is very likely that he will have a mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure to suppress him, so be especially careful. Disciple, obey. Ms. Sir, who is my opponent? Feng Qi asked quickly. I don't know either, let's see and then talk. You don't know what it means. Feng Qi was very dissatisfied, but she did not dare to cause too much trouble as she guarded her disciples. The dignity of the elders still had to be maintained. When they come, you will know who your opponent is. After all, it didn't matter that Feng Qi was dissatisfied. Xiaouni are. The disciple is here. Feng Zhanjian took a step forward. You fight the first team. No matter who they leave to fight you, you just need to hold off your opponent. If you can win, it's best. If your opponent is too strong, then safety is the best. Disciple, obey. Shinian, when you fight for the second battle, your goal is the same as your senior sisters. Disciple, obey. Yang Mei, you play in the third team and play freely. Disciple, obey. Let's all go. Disciple resigns. The three of them unanimously urged Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven to move away. Obviously, they want to avoid suspicion, let alone be fed dog food. Without them, Feng Qi no longer avoided it and sat directly on Su Junming's body, her body swimming in his arms like a beautiful snake. "Ms. Sir, you promised me that you would give me an opponent at the level of Lord Hongmeng. How can you keep your promise?" After being worn down by her, Su Junming said helplessly, "I promised you, but only 3 Hongmeng Shangzun came. Where can I get a fourth one for you? I will play the first game in place of Xiao Yun'er. Are you embarrassed to steal your nephew's opportunity? Then what should we do? We have been preparing for this for so long. It didn't take long actually." Su Junming. "Hey, what are you doing in broad daylight? If you don't let me fight, give me the child." Su Junming was stunned. "What's your logic?" In fact, he forgot one thing. Once a woman is angry, she has no reason or logic at all. March is fleeting. Outside the sacred tree of the Kinglan sect, 3 leaves measuring tens of thousands of feet were floating in the sky. They were filled with precious light and had an extraordinary aura. There are tens of millions of Kinglan disciples among them. They are the Jianmu Shenzhou that the Kinglan sect used to refine the Jianmu Shenzhou using Jianmu leaves at a huge cost, and asked the weapon refining sect to help them refine it. It has unlimited space inside and can transport people at extremely fast speeds, coming and going as fast as lightning. It is the vehicle used by Aoki Brown to fight. On the Shenzhou, the largest wooden structure in the middle, Zhao Yuankaiu, Sima Fan, and Yu Chang'an stood side by side, and behind them were high-level disciples from the 2 families. I have long heard that the Kinglan sect's wooden war boat is magical, but now that I have seen it with my own eyes, it is indeed extraordinary. Fellow Taoist Jade, I'm grateful. Compared to the immortal clan's Yuan Yang war boat, our Jianmu war boat is much inferior, Zhao Yuankaiu said. Fellow Taoist, you are overly praised. We both have our own merits. After a pause, Yu Chang'an, who was anxious to search for spiritual treasures, did not want to waste any more time. 2 fellow Taoists, it's getting late and the staff is already ready. Should we set off? Although he was a little surprised by his urgency, Zhao Yuankaiu didn't think much about it. He also wanted to rescue his nephew as soon as possible. Since fellow Taoist said it, then I will, set off. With a wave of his sleeves, the sound of huge war drums shook the surrounding areas. 3 huge wooden war boats bloomed with endless green wood aura. The vast light gradually enveloped the war boat and flew into the distance like lightning. The mountains and rivers receded, and the stars flew by. About 3 years later, we arrived at the edge of Kinglan State, and the vast sea of clouds and mist was already in sight. Through this sea of clouds and mist, ahead is the great mountain estate. There was a hint of excitement in Zhao Yuankaiu's tone. I wish I had arrived earlier. Yu Chang'an said. Don't be anxious, fellow Taoist Jade. Chongshan Academy is just food for you and me. If you eat it early or late, it will fall into your hands. What fellow Taoist Zhao said is true. While they were talking, the 3 spirit boats had already left Kinglan Dazhu and penetrated deep into the Sea of Clouds. The origin of the Sea of Clouds is unknown. It is said that it existed when the wilderness continent was opened. The Sea of Clouds is mysterious and has a great suppressive effect on spiritual consciousness. Therefore, unless the cultivation level reaches Hunyuan, few people will go deep into this place. Suddenly, the surrounding clouds swelled rapidly. What happened? Before the cultivators could recover, a hurricane that stretched hundreds of millions of miles across and was as fast as lightning, penetrating the sky and the earth, tore through the sea of clouds and blew over. It was so majestic and unimaginable that everything in its path was torn into pieces. The earth-shattering power caused the faces of all the cultivators to change drastically. Zhao Yuankai roared angrily, and the powerful King Muora soared from his body. Aoki divine arm. Boom boom boom. Extremely thick giant trees suddenly appeared in mid-air, like a majestic wooden wall stretching for hundreds of millions of miles, blocking Fenlan. Woo woo, like a hurricane roaring like a bull, soon hit the huge wall. The huge impact and cutting sound made everyone feel numb. It felt like two huge beasts fighting in a bloody battle, teeth gnashing, flesh against flesh, blood flowing all over the body. It was extremely cruel. I don't know how long it took before the scalp-numbing sound of wind slowly disappeared. At the same time, the majestic giant wall quickly disintegrated like a sand dune. As far as the eye can see, the surrounding area is empty for hundreds of millions of miles. The once misty clouds have long since dissipated. It's a pity that no one appreciates this rare openness. All eyes are fixed on the woman in the distance ahead with fluttering clothes and American TV series, holding a flag in her arms. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1251. Staring thousands of miles away, there is a beautiful woman dressed in light blue palace clothes, with beautiful tassels on her waist, a palm-sized red gourd hanging on her left waist, and holding a spiritual flag in her arms. Zhao Yuankai, Sima Fan, and Yu Chang'an frowned at the same time. Before coming, they had done a lot of research on Chongshan Academy. Whether it is a four-level system of lower court, middle court, upper court, and main court, or a three-level inheritance system of outer sect, inner sect, and direct descendants. The gourd hanging from the waist represents at least one disciple of Chongshan inner sect. The person on the opposite side has a powerful aura and powerful mana. He is obviously Hongmeng Shangzun. The triangular spiritual flag in his arms, with its rich wind charm, is also a low-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. Obviously, this is a direct descendant of Chongshan. The strength of Chongshan Academy is indeed more than what it appears on the surface. Sima Fan felt heavy in his heart. He was also extremely glad that he didn't come to the door rashly in the first place. Your Excellency, are you a member of the Chongshan sect? Zhao Yuankai said loudly. It was like a silver bottle being broken, and there was a sound with a trace of evil spirit. Feng Zanjian, the second-generation direct disciple of Chongshan, has met all fellow Taoists. Second-generation heir. Everyone was shocked. This information contained a lot of information. With a large-scale inheritance like Chongshan Academy, there will never be only one second-generation disciple. If a few more Hongmeng come, everyone's hearts will become heavier and heavier for a while. Is your master Su Junming, the true king of Chongshan in the early days? Zhao Yuankai asked again. Exactly. Did he ask you to stop us here? My master's calculations have long predicted that you bunch of clowns are plotting to invade my Chongshan mountain, so I was specifically asked to wait here. The term clown angered Yu Chang'an, who had a high self-esteem. Thinking that his immortal clan has been around since the beginning of the Manghuang, hundreds of thousands of dollars will come, and it will grow into the second largest clan in the Manghuang. Even those superpowers with great masters sitting at their command will give them a little bit of favor. When have you ever been ridiculed like this? Ignorant and cheap servant, she is just from a low-ranking section. She actually dares to say big words. She really doesn't know how to live or die. After scolding, Yu Chang'an did not take action. Turned. Fellow Taoist Sima, could you please eradicate this beast? Sima Fan was stunned. Seeing the angry look on the other side just now, did he think he would take action? Of course Yu Chang'an would not be the first to take action, otherwise what would happen if the treasure in Naijan's hands fell into the hands of the Kinglan sect? A mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, no matter how good the friendship is, will instantly collapse in the face of such huge interests. He didn't want to gamble. On the contrary, Kinglan sect wanted Chongshan das Hu. To achieve this goal, the top management of Chongshan Academy are within the scope of cleaning up. The Feng Zanjian in front of him was the stumbling block second only to Su Junming. Of course, the premise is that there are no other Hongmeng in Chongshan Academy. Xian's son-in-law, I will leave this person to you. Zhao Yuankai echoed. Sima Fan's eyes were a little colder. Although he was dissatisfied, he also knew that although the three of them were Hongmeng monks, he had the lowest status and the worst cultivation. Of course he had to take the first shot in the first round. Fortunately, although Feng Zanjian was the supreme master of Hongmeng, he was only in the early stage and was much worse than himself. He would eventually encounter danger. After slightly nodding, he activated the escape light and instantly exited the Jianmu Shenzhou and reached mid-air. You humble servant, do you recognize me? Sima Fan, the leader of Kinglan sect, True Lord Qingyuan Feng Zanjian raised the corner of his mouth with sarcasm on his face, a shameless person who relies on a woman's pomegranate skirt to rise to power. Sima Fan was furious. What he hated most in his life was people saying that he was a soft-boiled person. You wanna die? Before the word death could be spoken, a wooden ruler that looked like fine jade and was engraved with countless divine inscriptions appeared in his hand like lightning. With a sudden wave, the wooden ruler bloomed with billions of spiritual lights. The vast greenwood divine light is like a raging wave, covering the sky and the earth, flying straight towards Feng Zanjian. The latter saw it and looked excited. This was her first life and death battle with an opponent of the same level. With a wave of his slender hand, the flag of the god of wind in his arms expanded instantly, and the vast charm of the wind filled the air. The breeze wrapped around the flag instantly turned into a giant tornado that tore apart the sky and the earth. Countless wind blades turned everything around them into dust, and with a soul-stirring roar of cattle, they headed straight towards the huge waves transformed by the billowing greenwood energy. It sounds like a long time, but in fact, it only took a moment or two from the beginning to the collision of the two Taoisms. Rumble. The earth-shattering roar shook hundreds of millions of miles. The fighting skills at the level of Lord Hongmeng were so powerful that even though they were far away, the vast aftermath and the remaining energy still caused the spiritual light of the three wooden divine boats to tremble, and they looked like they were about to be damaged. Hunyuan and Deluo-level monks have earth-colored faces. When you have some skills, take another move from me. Azure divine wooden stake. He raised the jade ruler high in his hand, and the vast jasper aura was like an erupting volcano, rising hundreds of thousands of miles into the sky. The surrounding Aoki auras seemed to be summoned, and swarmed towards the Aoki light pillar. After being blessed by endless spiritual energy, the wooden pillar gradually became solid. At the same time, countless mysterious patterns emerged, making it a bit more primitive and mysterious. Of course, such a giant pillar also made Feng Zanjian, who was thousands of miles away, feel strong pressure. Although I had known for a long time that these veteran Hongmeng monks had extraordinary strength and powerful methods, when they actually faced each other, I found that the pressure was greater than imagined. But I'm not bad either. Take a slight breath. Kinkin's plain hands seemed to be piercing butterflies, forming seals one after another quickly. In the palm of his hand, there was a ball of azure light. Although it was only a small ball, it contained amazing magic power. Phoenix sky-splitting sword. The bare hands turned outwards, and the ball of light expanded suddenly, becoming huge in an instant. Then, a layer of sky blue appeared, as thin as paper, but extremely sharp light that instantly penetrated thousands of miles. Coincidentally, the earth-shattering wooden stake also came over like the weight of Mount Tai. One is sharp and the other is powerful. Both of them perfectly displayed their respective characteristics of understanding the Great Road. Shua. The collision of sharpness and strength finally resulted in an equal outcome. Not only Zhao Yuankai and Yu Chang'an were the exceptions to this scene, but Sima Fan, who did not hold back at all, was even more unbelievable. Seeing everyone's expressions in his eyes, Feng Zhanjiun showed a touch of pride on his face. Because of the Dian Divine Mirror, the direct disciples of Chongshan generally have higher moral conduct than magical power. Therefore, her Taoist power is equal to that of Sima Fan. In full view of everyone, being blocked by someone whose cultivation level was inferior to his own, and even using his own magical power, he did not gain any advantage. This made Sima Fan feel ashamed and became cautious. Looking at the two people fighting with sparks flying everywhere, Zhao Yuankai looked solemn. Although he didn't want Sima Fan to take away his authority to take charge of the King Mu sect, he also didn't want him to suffer a loss and fall. A King Mu sect whose strength has declined significantly cannot defend the foundation of the King Mu state. Fellow Taoist Jade, that cheap mate is quite powerful. Why don't you and I do the same thing and take down this person first? Yu Chang'an's eyes flashed. Although this humble servant's Taoism is strong, her magic power is not as good as that of fellow Taoist Sima. Although they are evenly matched in a short period of time, as her magic power is consumed, she will definitely fall behind. Furthermore, the King Mu sect and the Immortal clan are both famous sections. If three people fight against each other, even if they win, the reputation will not be good. In my opinion, it is better to leave fellow Daoist Sima here to deal with the enemy. You and I will go to Chongshan first. Kill Su Junming. This will also prevent this generation from fleeing first when they see a bad opportunity. Zhao Yuankai was not a fool and instantly understood Yu Chang'an's plan. His target was the spiritual treasures accumulated by Chongshan Academy, so he was naturally afraid that they would run away early. And what the King Mu sect wants is Chongshan Dazhu, and it won't run away. But Yu Chang'an is so eager to acquire Chongshan Academy's wealth, is there any valuable treasure in it? The matter of Yu Linki instantly emerged in Zhao Yuankai's sea of consciousness. Yu Chang'an has many heirs, so even if one of them escapes, there is no need to start a big fight. Fellow Daoist Zhao, what does you propose? Looking at Yu Chang'an's firm gaze, Zhao Yuankai understood that even if he disagreed, the other party would go it alone. After looking at the two sides who were fighting, just as Yu Chang'an said, as time goes by, Sima Fan, who has stronger magic power and is more powerful, will eventually gain the upper hand. Spirit Flag. A middle-aged monk wearing a green robe stepped forward. Teacher. You stay with a few junior brothers to hold the battle for your senior brothers. Disciple, obey. He Linki bowed to accept the order and went down to select his disciples. Zhao Daiyangrui is decisive. If the King Mu sect establishes you, I'm afraid you won't be as glorious as you are now. Yu Chang'an complimented you at the right moment. Zhao Yuankai smiled and didn't say much. The reason why he agreed was actually because he was curious about what treasure Yu Chang'an was seeking so hard. If it is really a valuable treasure, there is no way that they will turn against each other and snatch it away. As for offending the Immortal clan, haha, if you offend, you will be offended. Although they are strong, the strong defense of the Jianmu sacred tree is enough to ensure the safety of the sect. After leaving one wooden divine boat behind, the other two bypassed the two sides who were fighting and continued towards Chongshan Academy. Sima Fan, who received the message from Zhao Yuankai, was dissatisfied with them, but as his old father-in-law said, he had stronger magic power, and the longer the delay was, the better it would be for him. The victory is mine. It seems that your companion has abandoned you, Feng Zhanjiun said. You should worry about yourself. When your mana is almost exhausted, you will die, Sima Fan said in a cold tone. Feng Zhanjiun's expression remained unchanged, urging Feng Shenkai to concentrate on the fight. Sima Fan is the grindstone chosen by the teacher for himself. The longer he persists, the better it will be for him. As for the danger, with the trump card given by her teacher, she didn't worry about losing at all. The earth-shattering sound of fighting has gradually become less audible. But the two Jianmu Shenzhou still did not leave the scope of the sea of clouds and mists. Unplanned, Feng Zhanjian's appearance made Zhao Yuankai and Yu Chang'an, who were originally confident, feel a little more hesitant. The strength of Chongshan Academy does not seem to be as simple as what the outside world sees. But now the arrow is on the string and it has to be fired. The silence of the two bosses made the atmosphere in Jianmu Shenzhou also become silent. Everyone was a little uneasy. Suddenly, Zhao Yuankai and Yu Chang'an raised their heads and looked forward at the same time. Soon those disciples in the Hunyuan and Deluo realms also noticed something strange. At some point, a huge and unparalleled green bamboo appeared in front of it. The energy of Yuma was billowing 30 million miles away, like a huge wall, blocking the way. This is, low-grade Hongmeng spiritual root. Soon someone saw the reality of the bamboo. It looks like the famous Azure Immortal Bamboo. Isn't the Azure Immortal Bamboo a spiritual treasure that only exists in the temple? Ignorant and ignorant, there are many spiritual roots cultivated by Emperor Kangyang in the four major divine states in the wilderness. But there are only a few that can be cultivated to the Hongmeng realm. As he spoke, the azure fairy bamboo that penetrated the sky suddenly shrank, turned into a few feet, and floated in the air. In front of him appeared a middle-aged man with bare feet, wearing an old yellow linen robe, with dark skin, thick bones and a big face. After seeing the red gourd tied around his waist, Zhao Yuankai and Yu Chang'an's hearts sank suddenly. The fastest thing they expected happened. Chongshan Academy is indeed more than what it seems on the surface. After taking a deep breath to calm down, Zhao Yuankai exhaled loudly. You are also a disciple of Chongshan. My name is Zhang Shinian, and my Taoist name is Qingdi. I am the direct disciple of my mentor, Qing Emperor Zhang Shinian. Everyone is thinking hard, but no one knows. Fellow Taoist Jade, I see that this person also practices Qingmu Taoism, so let me handle it. I'll leave the rest to you. After saying that, without waiting for Yu Chang'an's reply, he raised his ray of light and rushed straight towards Zhang Shinian. Child Chongshan, I am Zhao Yuankai, the Supreme Elder of the Qingmu section. Please use my move. A thick black wooden staff suddenly appeared in Zhao Yuankai's hand, and he swung it violently, and the light surged. A giant tree hundreds of thousands of meters tall, with the power of opening up mountains and opening up new lands, struck Zhang Shinian with ferocious momentum. The latter looked at it without showing any fear on his face. His right hand spread out, and a 12-section wooden whip appeared in his palm. It was Zhang Shinian who practiced hundreds of Yuanhui's natal spiritual treasures, Chubian. As for the celestial spiritual bamboo at the back, it was difficult to get the teacher's 9 drops of middle-grade good fortune spiritual water to advance, but he really couldn't bear to use it against the enemy. However, with Chubian here, it is enough for the time being. With a sudden wave, the same Qingmu spiritual light surged, and a huge wooden whip responded with great momentum. A whip and a staff, like two giant pillars, crashing into each other. For a moment, the sky and the earth seemed to explode with thunder. The movement was louder than that of Sima Fan and Feng Zhanjian before. The bursting energy set off hundreds of millions of miles of waves. Within hundreds of thousands of miles, space was shattered. The momentum was so tyrannical that all the Hunyuan were horrified and retreated continuously. Among them, the eyes of the being who had reached the perfection of Hunyuan Golden Immortal became expectant. Hongmeng Shangzun, a realm that can bring about a qualitative change in monks. Looking at Zhao Yuankai, who was fighting with Zhang Shinian with one stick after another, Yu Chang'an's eyes were cold. This old guy is so cunning that he seizes Zhang Shinian, who is far behind in cultivation, but then leaves Su Junming to himself. This is simply unreasonable. Father, Kongshan's strength is much greater than we originally expected. To be on the safe side, why don't we retreat first and come back after figuring out Kongshan's true strength? Yu Lingfei came over and sent a message with his spiritual mind. In the past, Yu Chang'an would definitely agree to such an old man's suggestion of seeking a country. But this time, he was fully prepared. Don't worry, my son. Although Su Junming is very powerful, he is just a Hongmeng Shangzun. As a father, he has his own means to subjugate him. Seeing his father's confident expression, Yu Lingfei pondered for a moment, and his face instantly became excited. Could it be? If that's the case, we will definitely be able to sweep through Chongshan Academy. The people from the Kinglan sect who are left behind, let's go around and go straight to Kongshanfang. Zhao Yuankai breathed a sigh of relief when he noticed Jian Mu Shenzhou flying away. Hongmeng Shangzun appeared one after another in Chongshan Academy, which directly shook his confidence. That's why he took the initiative and left Su Junming, who was the hardest to chew, to Yu Chang'an. If he can win, everything will go according to the original plan. The Kinglan sect will win the Chongshan state, and the immortal clan will get the treasure. If he loses, he will have enough opportunities to escape back to Kinglan province. The presence of the Jianmu sacred tree is enough to ensure his safety. In the tens of thousands of years that the Aoki sect established the sect, they have survived many crises in the same way, even the crisis of annihilation of the sect. Whether you eat meat or have your front teeth knocked out depends on Yu Chang'an. Looking in the direction of Chongshan Dazhu, an indescribable uneasiness appeared in my heart. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1252. Yu Chang'an stood on the bow of the ship with his hands behind his back, staring into the depths of the sea of clouds with his deep eyes. The roar of the fighting behind them has gradually become less audible. However, his heart slowly lifted. Su Junming, the true king of Chongshan in the early days, was able to teach two Hongmeng disciples. Their cultivation level must be higher and their methods stronger. And what worries him more than this is whether the other party has more disciples or fellow disciples who have broken through Hongmeng. More unknowns made Yu Chang'an, who was holding a heavy treasure, feel a little more uneasy. No, stop. Yu Chang'an suddenly noticed something strange, his expression suddenly changed, and he called loudly. The Jianmu Shenzhou underfoot slowly stopped. Yu Lingfei stepped forward quickly. Father, what's wrong? We were tricked by Su Junming. Yu Chang'an looked ugly. Hearing this, Yu Lingfei was a little confused. Although the sea of clouds is vast, we started from Kinglan state. Judging from the mileage traveled, we should have reached the edge of Chongshan state long ago. Father, do you mean that we have fallen into an illusion? No, this is a space method. The art of space. Yu Lingfei was shocked. To be able to open up such a huge space, and to be able to hide it from my father, a powerful Hongmeng man, the caster must at least be of the level of the Hongmeng master. Shangzun Hongmeng, who is proficient in the magic of space. Yu Lingfei felt a little more worried. Fate, time, and space are the top avenues in any world. Among hundreds of millions of monks, not one person can succeed in cultivation. There are even fewer people who can achieve Hongmeng in this way. Fellow Taoist Su, you are also a respected member of a section. Since you are here, why do you need to hide your head and show your tail? Yu Chang'an's sonorous voice shook hundreds of millions of miles. Ha ha ha. Accompanied by loud laughter, a hale and hearty old man wearing a green robe, dormant shoes, a gold rope tied around his waist, a red cord hanging on his waist, and a green jade bamboo stick in his hand suddenly appeared in the air. On top of its head, a bowl-sized azure bead bloomed with infinite aura. The majestic space rhyme fills the sky. Poor Yang Mei, the direct disciple of Chongshan, has been waiting for the immortal lord for a long time. Yu Chang'an's heart thumped, and he instantly sank to the bottom. The worst-case scenario he expected happened. Chongshan Academy is indeed not as simple as it appears, and its hidden power is astonishingly great. Staring at Yang Mei, who was thousands of miles away. Where is your master? I don't know where Master Fahai is. However, fellow Taoists have brought people to knock on the door. Could it be that they still want to make peace? There was a hint of sarcasm in his tone. Yu Chang'an raised his eyebrows and suppressed the anger in his heart. Since your master knows that we are here, it is clear to you why I am looking for trouble in your Chongshan Academy. Seeing that Yang Mei was silent, Yu Chang'an continued. As long as the master agrees to return that evil daughter of mine, I, Yu Chang'an, promise to retreat and never provoke the noble sect again. If necessary, I will help you destroy the Kinglan section. I didn't expect that the leader of the immortal clan, Yu Chang'an, is really a capricious hero. One second he was brothers with the Kinglan sect, advancing and retreating together, the next second he was adding insult to injury, shouting for beatings and killings. Being ridiculed like this in front of everyone, Yu Chang'an's face turned green with anger. Junior, how dare you ridicule me? Pandeo is just talking about things. If you don't do that, how can Pandeo say it? However, there is no need to ask my teacher for instructions on what you are talking about, Pandeo can answer you. Yang Mei paused every word. I, Chongshan, belong to a well-known and authentic section. How can I associate with a rebellious madman like you? You wanna die? The furious Yu Chang'an raised his hand, and a bright sword light was like a sky-shattering rainbow, spanning thousands of miles in an instant. The unparalleled power cuts through the space, leaving a black crack in mid-air. Boom! An earth-shattering roar sounded. Billions of sword lights spread out, filling the sky like exploding stars. Impossible! Yu Chang'an's face was filled with disbelief. The light dissipated, and Yang Mei still looked as calm as before with her hands behind her back. On top of his head, in addition to the azure natal spiritual treasure Heavenly Heart Ruyi Pearl, there was also a silvery white ring the size of a sea bowl floating in the air. Even though they were thousands of miles away, the powerful Gengjin Daoyun still shocked people's hearts. Yang Mei waved her hand, and the silver white ring above her head flew down into her palm. Looking at the shocked Yu Chang'an from afar, he smiled and said, "The world is vast, and you are not the only one who has the middle grade Hongmeng Lingbao. This treasure of his is called the Vajra Wishful Circle, which contains 6 realms of the primordial spiritual taboo, and is considered top-notch among the middle-grade primordial spiritual treasures. It was given to me personally by my teacher Su Junming after practicing it. However, it was originally only 5 levels. Later, after the teacher Tiangong Dao progressed, after repeated training, another level was added." Taking a deep breath, Yu Chang'an's expression became solemn. The reason why he came here alone this time was because most of his confidence was in this powerful sword of spiritual thread that had suppressed the immortal clan for many years. This 5-level forbidden killing spirit treasure has helped the immortal clan survive many disasters and killed many enemies of the immortal clan in the past hundreds of thousands of yuan. It is very famous. I originally thought that this spiritual treasure would be enough to sweep through Chongshan, but I didn't expect that Su Junming was blocked by his disciples before he could see it. More importantly, he was keenly aware that the aura of the opponent's bright circle was still above his own sword of spiritual thread. How can this be? However, no matter how much he doesn't believe it. The facts were all in front of him, so he couldn't help but not believe it. Yang Mei looked at Yu Chang'an, who was still full of shock. He wanted to use him to hone his Taoism, so he was too lazy to talk nonsense. With a flick of his fingers, the Vajraruyi circle in his palm flew out like lightning. The body that was the size of a sea bowl instantly transformed into a gigantic figure, and with overwhelming power, it struck down as heavy as a mountain. Yu Chang'an did not dare to neglect, and moved forward with the vibrating Lingxiao divine sword. The vast sword light was like the rising sun, as fast as lightning and as fast as thunder. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion, spiritual energy churned within billions of miles, and the billowing sea of clouds was directly destroyed by the powerful Tao method. Yu Chang'an instantly felt that an overwhelming force was rolling in along the Lingxiao divine sword. The Jian Mu Shenzhou beneath his feet was directly shaken back 3,000 miles. The spiritual light was scattered, the restrictions collapsed, and this Hunyuan supreme spiritual boat was on the verge of destruction. A trace of bright red blood flowed from the corner of Yu Chang'an's mouth. It was obvious that he had been seriously injured in one blow. "Father!" Yu Lingfei was shocked and quickly flew over to support him. He waved his hand. "I didn't check for a while and suffered some minor injuries. But don't worry, it's nothing serious." Although he said this, Yu Chang'an's family knew about his family affairs. His spiritual thread divine sword is one restriction lower than the opponent's spiritual circle. The higher the Lingbao goes up, the greater the difference in power. When it reaches the middle level, even if it is just a forbidden gap, the power will be 100 times different. Fortunately, his magic power is deeper than that of Yang Mei, otherwise it would not be as simple as a minor injury. Yu Lingfei opened his mouth. He was not a fool. He could see a hint of reality from the duel just now. He wanted to persuade his father to leave while he had the opportunity, but knowing his father's nature, he backed down when the words came to his lips. "Shua!" A stream of light flashed through the Vajraruyi circle and struck like lightning. Swiftness and lightness contain invincible and huge power. Yu Chang'an pressed on his mana fiercely, and the Lingxiu divine sword behind him burst out with endless sword light, and he went directly to meet him. With the previous lessons, he took the initiative to increase his mana. Boom! The earth-shattering roar shook the sky for hundreds of millions of miles. This time the movement was bigger than before. The impact of the explosion tore the space apart again. The spiritual light of the Tianxin Ruyi pearl on Yang's brow trembled violently. Sensing the feedback from his natal spiritual treasure, he frowned. His magic power has now reached the middle stage of Hongmeng Supreme, but compared with Yu Chang'an, who is at the peak of Hongmeng Supreme, it is far behind. If you maintain two spiritual treasures, your mana will be consumed too quickly. With a movement in his heart, the light of Tianxin Ruyi Pearl converged. The space barrier covering hundreds of millions of miles in radius quickly disappeared. Yu Chang'an noticed the change instantly, but the surrounding area was not the Chongshan continent, but still the misty and vast sea of clouds. Seeing this, Yu Chang'an breathed a sigh of relief. Without the obstruction of space barriers, even if you can't defeat them, it's easier to escape. However, he could no longer care about it for the time being. Fighting with one move after another, the two of them have shown real fire. The fight became more and more intense, and the shocking movement caused the Hunyuan monks who came with Jianmu Shenzhou to retreat. The sea of clouds is high in the sky, in an unknown place. Su Junming and Feng Qi sat cross-legged. "How about I give them a helping hand?" Looking at Feng Qi, who was eager to try, Su Junming smiled faintly. "No need. Xiao Yuner and Shi Nian both have middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao with them. It's not difficult to win over Sima Fan and Zhao Yuan Kaiu. What about Yu Chang'an? As long as the Lingxiu divine sword is there, Yang Mei may not be able to defeat him. He can't run away." Pointing out his hand, "Look." Looking in the direction of his finger, a thick space barrier appeared in mid-air. The coverage of this barrier is so large that it is comparable to a huge Hongmeng true realm. Whether it was Sima Fan, Feng Zhanjian, Zhao Yuan Kaiu, or Yu Chang'an who were fighting, they were all enveloped in it. Staring at the gourd-shaped space barrier, Feng Qi suddenly realized. Space gourd. Su Junming smiled and nodded. As early as when Yu Chang'an and others left Kinglan Dazhu and entered the Sea of Clouds, they fell into his space gourd, but they didn't notice it. Of course, his space gourd is no less powerful than the Jade Chang'an Lingxiao divine sword. Coupled with the cooperation of the Fate gourd, they will naturally not find it. Now these people are the turtles in the urn, their life and death have already been decided. No matter Yang Mei and the others win or lose, they cannot change the outcome. Feng Qi rolled his eyes at him. "You are really as cunning as ever." Snapped. He slapped her fleshy butt hard. "I'm arranging my husband-in-law like this, so be careful when I go back to make you look good. Feng Qi's beautiful eyes flickered. Come on, I'm eager to do it. Su Junming shook his head. He was also in a daze, forgetting that this woman was pestering him for a child just a second ago. If she lingers with him, it will be exactly what she wants. With a rush of magic power, his body turned into light and flew towards Kinglan Dazhu like lightning. Hey, where are you going? Victory has been determined, now of course we must get the benefits first. Feng Qi's eyes lit up and he quickly urged the escape light to follow. She is also very interested in searching for treasures and so on. The two of them were able to escape like lightning and soon arrived at the Kinglan Sek's mountain gate. Looking up at the huge Jianmu sacred tree in front of him. This tree is not much smaller than the one in Chongshan True Realm, Feng Qi said. Su Junming nodded slowly. Among all the low-grade Hongmeng spiritual roots, it is almost the top. No wonder the Kinglan sect can rely on it to stand up to the tens of thousands of yuan without falling. No matter how good the thing is, won't it fall into our hands now, Feng Qi said. That's true. However, if we don't lure Sima Fan and Zhao Yuankai away first, with them presiding over the great formation to suppress the Jianmu sacred tree, it will never be as easy as it is now for us to succeed. Feng Qi nodded. What do you plan to do with this spiritual root? Keep it? Or take it back to the Chongshan True Realm and let the two Jianmu merge? Let's merge. Whether it's this Jianmu or our Chongshan Jianmu, they have reached the limit of advanced mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual roots. By superimposing the two and consolidating the foundation, the chance of success will be several times greater. Su Junming is very sober and his choices are very realistic. One middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual root is worth more than thousands of low-grade Hongmeng spiritual roots. As he spoke, Su Junming quickly formed seals with his hands. A mighty spiritual light bloomed. Countless gourd vines shrouded in 13 colors of aura, resembling dragons and snakes, penetrated the sea of clouds, penetrated deep into the Kinglan continent, and gradually enveloped the entire continent. Because of the blessings of time, space, cause and effect, destiny, and many other avenues, no one except Su Junming could detect the aura of this gourd vine. Wait until the entire Kinglan continent is enveloped. Su Junming, who was mumbling something, suddenly put his hands together. Gather. Boom. Under the boundless magic power and the divine power of the Calabash Vine, Kinglan Dazhu and Chongshan Dazhu slowly approached each other. The huge sea of clouds quickly dispersed under the squeeze of the two behemoths. About 300 years later, the two continents slowly moved closer together. Su Junming took a breath and grabbed his hand. The huge power turned into an invisible giant hand and directly invaded the Jianmu sacred tree along the earth's veins. The latter noticed something strange, and his spiritual light suddenly surged, and endless greenwood spiritual energy penetrated the sky. It is a pity that Zhao Yuankai and Sima Fan are not here, and most of the senior members of the sect have been taken away. The Jianmu sacred tree, which is almost unsupervised, cannot stop the invasion of Su Junming, a Hongmeng strongman who has not practiced Tiangong Dao and is proficient in formations. In just a few days, the forbidden method that the Kinglan sect spent tens of thousands of yuan on was completely mastered. The seal changes again. The vast divine power, like an invisible giant hand, swept across the Kinglan continent, and just like the Xiang continent before, he took away all the monks above Deluo and all the Kinglan sect disciples. Without their constraints, Chongshan Academy can easily swallow this huge continent that is more than twice the size of Chongshan State. Because there were many space barriers laid by the space gourd, Sima Fan and Zhao Yuankai did not know that the Kinglan sect and the Jianmu sacred tree, which they relied on as the Great Wall, had been uprooted by Su Junming. However, even so, their spiritual senses were aware of the danger. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1253. Boom. Waving the wooden ruler, Several huge trees with a diameter of 10,000 feet collided with the overwhelming hurricane force with a shocking power. For a moment, the roar shook the sky. The tree powder torn apart by the wind blade caused a sandstorm to roll up millions of miles around. Sima Fan held the natal spiritual treasure Sacred Wood spiritual ruler in his hand, looking at the dim and graceful figure on the opposite side shrouded in a magnificent storm, his brows furrowed tightly. Although he had the upper hand in this fight, there was always an inexplicable uneasiness in his heart. Moreover, hundreds of years have passed since the beginning of the fight between himself and the other party, but there is still no trace of Yu Chang'an and Zhao Yuanqiu. Not even a little news. He asked using secret methods, but there was no response. He asked his disciples to go and inquire, but he didn't come back. All kinds of anomalies made him feel more and more unsure. No, we can't fight any longer. In fear, Sima Fan waved the sacred wooden ruler and fought off the flying wind sword. He no longer hesitated and flew towards the Aoki continent like lightning, not even caring about Jian Mu Shenzhou who was watching the battle in the distance. You want to run? It's a pity it's too late. Feng Zhanjian's heart moved, and a fist-sized cup appeared in the clouds above his head. This cup is completely red, with a wide mouth and a straight neck, and its ears are in the shape of a dragon. The cup is embossed with mysterious spiritual patterns, exuding a rich flavor of fire. Goblet of Fire. A medium-grade Hongmeng Lingbao restricted by the 5 Hongmeng prohibitions. Refined by Tiangong Taoist, due to material limitations, the 6th prohibition could not be achieved. But it's enough to deal with Sima Fan. As soon as the mana was activated, the Goblet of Fire expanded instantly, and in a moment it became huge. The next moment, the overwhelming golden red fire rolled out overwhelmingly, like a river that burst its embankments. He raised his magic power again and waved his natal spiritual treasure, the Wind God flag, in his palm. Call. The earth-shaking giant mist rose into the sky. For a moment, the wind borrowed the power of the fire, and the fire borrowed the power of the wind, and a sea of fire spread across hundreds of millions of miles, and rushed towards Sima Fan at an astonishing speed like lightning. The latter had long been aware of the astonishing flames behind him. But before he could see clearly, the overwhelming flames were already rushing towards him. The power is already 10,000 times more powerful than the previous simple wind method. How can it be? Sima Fan, who was horrified in his heart, didn't even have the courage to turn around and resist, so he used all his strength to run away like crazy. This level of fire was already beyond what he could handle. But what made him despair was that for some reason, the same astonishing fire suddenly appeared thousands of miles away in front of him. The wall of fire covering hundreds of millions of miles, one behind the other, seemed like two big hands closing together, trapping him in the middle with nowhere to escape. Using his consciousness, Feng Zhanjian shook his head slightly as he looked at Sima Fan, who was trapped in the sea of fire and looked desperate. 4 Kongshan's direct disciples who possess the little Chongshan cave heaven that can move in the void, unless they are also proficient in space Taoism, trying to escape is completely nonsense. Fellow Taoist Feng, Sima Fan is willing to surrender, and please accept the divine fire. There was extreme anxiety in his pleading tone. Feng Zhanjian was very aware of his mentor's penchant for high-quality labor. She also understands that with every additional Hongmeng master operating his spiritual machine, the speed of the growth of Chongshan True Realm will increase a lot. Even the tyranny of his own ancestors was enough to suppress them. With a thought in his heart, the fire wall's advancement slowed down. If you want to survive, hand over all your spiritual treasures and then claim your own Danshan. I can agree, but what if you take the opportunity to kill me? Sima Fan's eyes wandered, looking for opportunities to escape. Feng Zhanjian, who used the projection of the Dian mirror to see all the expressions on his face, snorted coldly. I won't shed tears until I see the coffin. The tactic prompts. The wall of fire suddenly accelerated, wrapping Sima Fan in it like lightning. The bursting flame ignited the surrounding wood gas. Not only did it not reduce it, it actually made the flames grow stronger. Seeing the mana being consumed rapidly, the flames were rapidly advancing towards his own body. Sima Fan became more and more desperate. However, he did not have the courage to self-destruct like Zhuge Wenchen, the former leader of the Xiang sect. Fellow Taoist Feng, I agreed. Please spare my life. Feng Zhanjiun didn't seem to hear his words. The scorching fire rolled like a sea, and Sima Fan's mana was consumed violently. Gradually, a feeling of weakness that had not been experienced in many years arose from the bottom of my heart. Just when he felt desperate, the surrounding fire suddenly retreated. A cold and evil voice came. Hand over your natal magic weapon and call yourself Danshan, and I will spare your life. At this time, Sima Fan had no choice. The surrounding huge sea of fire with a temperature of billions of degrees directly blocked all his escape routes. He gritted his teeth. I hope fellow Taoist will keep his promise. Sima Fan has surrendered. He released his palm, and a powerful pulling force enveloped his sacred wooden ruler, flying into the sea of fire and disappearing. But he didn't call himself Danshan. If so, he would really become a piece of meat on the chopping board and be slaughtered by others. As for the magic weapon, without the sacred wooden ruler, he still has a spare in his magic bag. Although it is not as powerful as the sacred wooden ruler, it can still be used against the enemy. Just when Sima Fan was on extreme alert. Boom! The earth-shattering bell rang in my ears. Sima Fan subconsciously used magic power to seal his ears to protect his soul. But the sound of the bell was unimaginably powerful. It instantly penetrated his magic power and exploded in the sea of consciousness. Sima Fan only felt that someone took a giant hammer and hit his soul hard. Although he didn't feel much pain, his soul seemed to fall into a bottomless abyss and instantly lost all perception of the outside world. Looking at the dull-looking Sima Fan, Feng Zhanjiun waved his hand, and the sky was filled with fire, and the wind and lightning turned, and swept Sima Fan back into the goblet of fire. The red giant cup turned into a stream of light and fell into Feng Zhangyun Qingyun. The latter's left palm held a sparkling navy blue talisman with iron-painted silver hooks and hundreds of complicated spiritual patterns written on it. The powerful spiritual energy contains the powerful soul charm. The divine soul talisman soul falling bell. As early as when Feng Zhanjiun came here to intercept Sima Fan, Su Junming handed her the refined talisman. In order to avoid losing hope of escape, Sima Fan took the risk and chose to self-destruct. By then, even with the protection of the goblet of fire, Feng Zhanjiun would inevitably be seriously injured. Fortunately everything went well. While Feng Zhanjiun was solving his opponent, Zhang Shinian was also at a critical juncture. As the supreme elder of the Qingmu sect, Zhao Yuankai still has more power than Sima Fan and has been practicing for longer. In addition to the natal spiritual treasure, the divine wooden staff, there is also a top-notch low-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure, the Tianxia seal, which is a 3-level spiritual treasure. The latter is made of star meteorite iron and contains powerful star magnetism. And the weight is amazing. When it is knocked down, it is really earth-shattering. Coupled with the swift and sharp divine wood staff, it was like a violent storm. Shua. The shadow of the staff filled the sky, falling down like a downpour. A large seal with a radius of about 10 feet, covered in silver light as bright as sparks, was wrapped in the shadow of the staff and flew forward like lightning. Zhang Shinian looked solemn. Zhao Yuankai is indeed a senior who has been practicing for many years and has rich experience. There are no flaws in the connection of each move, and the use is mysterious, and it is like an antelope hanging its horns without a trace, and the magic power is powerful, and the moves are continuous. As long as he makes an oversight, he will see the opportunity and strike hard. If it weren't for the unparalleled green bamboo aura defense of his Azure Lingzhu, Chu Bian's combination of strength and agility, and the mysterious projection of the Dian divine mirror, he would have almost been injured in the opponent's hands. However, although the situation was full of dangers at the beginning, it could even be called embarrassing. But after more than 300 years, with the help of the projection of the Dian divine mirror, he has reached the pinnacle of understanding and has also achieved astonishing growth. Now, dealing with Zhao Yuankao's techniques is much easier than before. As soon as the magic power was activated, the mighty greenwood spiritual light soared into the sky from the azure fairy bamboo, and soon supported the thousands of stick shadows falling from the sky. For a moment, it was like rain hitting the banana trees, and a ray of light bloomed within a million miles, which was spectacular. With a wave of Chu whip in his palm, a powerful force of energy appeared, like a poisonous dragon coming out of its cave. Boom! After a dull loud noise, the Tianchu seal hidden in the shadow of the staff was instantly knocked away, and at the same time, a strong force bounced back along the Chu whip. Zhang Shinian didn't resist forcefully and flew back along with the force. He waited until the strength was almost exhausted before regaining his balance. Zhao Yuankai saw the scene and frowned even more tightly. Zhang Shinian has many spiritual treasures and various methods. Although he was in a hurry under his attack at the beginning, he never showed his defeat. Over the next 300 years, it grew at an astonishing rate. Now I have become more comfortable dealing with my own Taoism. Moreover, he has exhausted all means and has no confidence that he can win the opponent. Coupled with the fact that there had been no news from Sima Fan and Yu Chang'an for a long time, he gradually began to want to leave. Distractions arose in my mind, and the movements of my hands were inevitably affected. Zhang Shinian was keenly aware of this change and understood it instantly. This person wants to escape. Thinking of the teacher's instructions, I no longer hesitated. With a thought in his heart, King Yun spread out 100 feet. All kinds of spiritual treasures surround it. In addition to the Chu whip in his hand, the azure fairy bamboo floating behind his back, and the red gourd hanging on his waist, there are also Xiao Chongshan cave sky, jade bamboo staff, Yoshiju, plague emperor walking flag, Guanjian cicada, and sword wings, as well as a square bronze mirror with a bronze color and a vast aura, just like the depth of the abyss and the breadth of the mist. The treasures surround the bronze mirror, like a monarch and his ministers. Zhang Shinian's heart moved, and two sword wings appeared behind him as if teleporting. The sword wings that looked like they were no more than 10 feet long were able to grow in the wind, but they turned into tens of thousands of feet long in an instant. The vast sword light, like the scorching sun, shines for hundreds of millions of miles. As the powerful sword energy danced, it left behind black space cracks that looked like fishing nets. Zhao Yuankai's expression changed drastically, and he turned around and ran away without saying a word. I screamed wildly in my heart. Damn it, how come he has a middle-grade Hongmengling Bao? Zhao Yuankai, who exerted all his strength to suck the milk, escaped the light as fast as lightning. But if he is fast, how can he compare to the sword wings refined by Su Junming? What's more, there are spiritual treasures like Xiao Chongshan Dongtian that can teleport. Fellow Taoist Zhao, although you can escape light quickly, my sword wings are a killing spirit treasure. They are as fast as light and lightning. Once you do it, you will never escape. Why don't you surrender? I promise to save your life. And 30,000 after Yuanhui, I will give you your freedom. Zhao Yuankai didn't seem to hear it and ran away with his head down. After practicing for many years, he has seen too many stories of intrigue and intrigue. How could one easily believe the gentle words of an enemy? Seeing him like this, Zhang Shinian shook his head slightly. What he said was true, but it was a pity that the other party didn't believe it. In that case, you can't blame me. The sword wings shook, and the boundless sound exploded. It drove Zhang Shinian to fly out as if teleporting, leaving behind a white sonic boom cloud tens of thousands of feet wide, like the Milky Way. The huge movement behind him naturally attracted Zhao Yuankai's attention. Looking back subconsciously, I was almost frightened. Zhang Shinian, who was hundreds of millions of miles away just now, was closing the distance between the two parties at an alarming speed. Zhao Yuankai, who had exhausted all his strength, only hated himself for why he hadn't found a Hongmeng Lingbao that granted him speed before. Of course, it's too late to regret. Seeing the two sides getting closer and closer, Zhao Yuankai, knowing that he could not run away, turned around suddenly. His eyes were blood red and his face was filled with anger. I will fight with you. He summoned up most of the mana in his body and activated the sacred wooden staff and Tianxia seal to hit him. Zhang Shinian saw this, smiled slightly, and shook his sword wings. The magnificent rain of swords was like a meteor shower, with a shocking power, and lightning fell. The sacred wooden staff and the Tianxia seal were like carp swimming upstream. After their mana was exhausted, they disappeared into the huge sword river. Zhao Yuankai's magic shield was broken with one poke. There was a scream of awe, and then it became silent. Zhang Shinian made a seal with his hands, and the rain of swords in the sky dissipated, turning into sword wings floating behind him again. He reached out and made a move, and the divine wooden staff and Tianxia seal with dim spiritual light fell into his palm. Before coming, the teacher had promised that they would arrange the spoils this time. However, with sword wings, a mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure, as well as Chu Whip and Azure Immortal Bamboo, it is enough for both body protection and fighting skills. After this matter is over, I will ask my mentor to train again and give it to his disciples. Hongmeng monks usually only use 2 or 3 spiritual treasures, and more are useless. Looking below, Zhao Yuankai was covered in blood and had already passed out. With a pat of the red gourd on his waist, a spiritual light enveloped the other party and was absorbed into it. Even though Zhao Yuankai looked miserable, his attack was very measured and did not damage the opponent's dantian and consciousness. It only takes a period of rest to recover and contribute to the growth of Chongshan True Realm. After everything was over, I patted the gourd. I don't know what's going on with junior sister Feng and senior brother Yang. As soon as the thought fell, his spiritual consciousness noticed a spiritual light flying from a distance. The thought of alertness arose, but was soon put down. Turn around and look. What was just a ray of starlight before became longer and longer, and gradually turned into a huge one. After landing, it turned into a beautiful fairy wearing a sky blue palace dress with tassels on her waist. It was Feng Zhanjian. It seems that senior brother has captured Zhao Yuankai. Haha, didn't junior sister capture Sima Fan too? After pursed his lips and smiled, he looked into the distance. I wonder how senior brother Yang is doing. Why don't you go as well? After Feng Zhanjian nodded, the two of them took off and flew toward Yang Mei's location. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1254. Compared with Feng Zhanjian and Zhang Shinian, who were able to fight their enemies with ease, the fight between Yang Mei and Yu Chang'an was much more intense and dangerous from the beginning. The Ling Xiao Divine Sword and the Vajraruyi Ring are both middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, with powerful power. For the two people who are Hongmeng Shangzun, although they can use it, it is difficult to send and receive it as freely as the low-grade Hongmeng Lingbao. Once hit, it's too late to beg for mercy. Under the crisis of life and death, the two of them were cautious and did not dare to hold back on every move. The powerful magic power stretches hundreds of millions of miles, and the breathtaking divine power shines brightly in the sky. What an amazing fighting technique! Zhang Shinian and Feng Zhanjian looked at the huge silver circle in the distance with astonishment on their faces, like a divine dragon's sky-shattering divine sword. By activating the middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao in the same way, I will definitely not be able to match the opponent's power. Not only is there a gap in mana, but there is also a gap in moral conduct. Yang Mei is the first among the second-generation disciples of Chongshan Academy to advance to the Hunyuan Golden Immortal level, and the first to achieve the existence of Hongmeng Shangzun. Her profound background is unparalleled among the second-generation disciples. In addition, the fundamental Taoist method is the mysterious way of space, so his fighting ability is particularly powerful. "Do you want help?" Feng Zhanjian asked. "Don't take action for the time being. If the critical moment comes, senior brother Yang Mei will greet us after a pause. You and I will separate and stand with senior brother Yang Mei according to the position of the three talents. If Yu Chang'an wants to escape, block him." Feng Zhanjian nodded. "I'll go to the human character." Zhang Shinian went to the deposition. Because the two of them were hidden by the space barrier of Xiao Chongshan Cave Sky, Yu Chang'an, who devoted all his energy to the fight, did not notice the arrival of the two. However, after more than 300 years, he has noticed something abnormal. The two of them fought with the mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, which was equivalent to the fight between two great masters. The impact was so vast that it had already shaken half of the wilderness world. As a result, there is not a single spectator around, which is abnormal in itself. There is no news about Sima Fan and Zhao Yuankai. The uneasiness in my heart is rapidly amplifying as time goes on. The change in mentality was quickly reflected in the fighting skills. Yang Mei, who was not distracted, instantly noticed that the power and frequency of the Jade Chang'an Lingxiao Divine Sword had declined. This person's cultivation level is still higher than mine. There is no way he has insufficient magic power. Unless his mind is wandering and he wants to run away. After realizing it in my heart. Forget it, junior brother Zhang and junior sister Feng have already eliminated their opponents, I can't delay too long. With his mind set, he quickly formed seals with his hands. The talisman in the Danshan space blooms with infinite charm, and the powerful magic power flows into the Vajra wishful circle along with the divine thoughts. Buzz. Invisible tremors shook the void for thousands of miles. The once golden Vajraruyi circle now has a rich azure color. Yu Chang'an suddenly noticed the change. However, his spiritual thread divine sword has already flown out, and it is not easy to take it back. The above-mentioned cultivators can control the middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, which is very powerful, but it is not easy to control. Soon Yu Chang'an discovered that this time the opponent's circle did not hit like a meteor, but stayed in mid-air, and the azure aura became more and more magnificent, almost suppressing the original golden color. The powerful space rime spreads for hundreds of millions of miles. Based on Yu Chang'an's experience, such a powerful Taoyun has almost reached the peak of Hongmeng Shangzun. After instinctively sensing that something was wrong, he subconsciously took back the Lingxiao divine sword. Just when he was making fingerprints, Yang Mei suddenly drank. Space collapses. Boom. The space inside the Vajraruyi circle collapsed instantly, and an unimaginable devouring force burst out. The lightning-fast spiritual thread divine sword, attracted by the power of the collapsing space, surged in speed and flew straight into the black hole with a diameter of hundreds of thousands of feet. Not good. Yu Chang'an was shocked. He did not hesitate to use his magic power to pull the restraint and wanted to take back the spiritual sword. But he woke up too late, and most of the Lingxiao divine sword had already flown into the Vajraruyi circle. Damn it! Yu Chang'an's face was ugly. No matter how he activated the spirit sword, the diamond ring was as if it was made of steel, without any looseness. However, Yang Mei couldn't completely swallow the Lingxiao divine sword. After all, Yu Chang'an's cultivation level is still above him. The situation became stalemate for a while. Yang Mei knew very well that with her own cultivation and magic power, she could only do this. If he were not in the middle stage of Hongmeng Shangzun now, but had reached the peak like Yu Chang'an, this fight would have ended long ago. But the fact is that it cannot be changed. Yang Mei is not pedantic either, and shocks Xiao Chongshan cave heaven. Please also ask junior brother Zhang and junior sister Feng to take action. After Zhang Shinian and Feng Zanjian heard the words, they responded and took out the sword wings and the goblet of fire. To deal with a being like Yu Chang'an whose cultivation has reached the peak of the supreme realm, unless his cultivation is the same as him, low-grade Hongmeng Lingbao will be of little use. Urgent. Duh. The two of them shouted. The overwhelming golden red fire turned into 9 flame dragons, roaring and flying straight towards Yu Chang'an. Swish, swish, swish. The overwhelming rain of swords was like the Yangtze River, swarming away. 2 Taoist techniques, one on the left and one on the right, completely blocked all the space for Yu Chang'an to escape. Sensing the extremely powerful magic power on the left and right sides, Yu Chang'an made an instant judgment, his heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly broke into a cold sweat. A trace of determination flashed in his eyes. He didn't bother to take back the spiritual thread divine sword, and took out a sky blue jade pendant from the magic bag like lightning. Judging from its Taoist rhyme, it is also a space spiritual treasure. Crush it into pieces, and the powerful space spiritual power instantly envelops the whole body, and the body disappears instantly. Yang Mei put away the spiritual thread divine sword and took a step forward to the place where Yu Chang'an disappeared. Feng Zanjian and Zhang Shinian also rushed over. Thank you, junior brother Zhang and junior sister Feng. If you hadn't taken action, I wouldn't have been able to defeat Yu Chang'an so easily. Senior brother Yang, you are polite. You and I are from the same sect, so we should help each other, Zhang Shinian said with a smile. Feng Zanjian nodded and looked at the disappeared space passage. I didn't expect Yu Chang'an to have this kind of spatial spiritual treasure. The immortal clan has a profound foundation. As the leader of the clan, Yu Chang'an certainly has no shortage of life-saving things. However, the teacher has already sealed this place with gourd vines. No matter how powerful his methods are, he cannot escape. Yang Mei's words haven't finished yet. Boom! The earth-shattering bells resounded through the sky. After a scream of awe, everything returned to calm. Teacher's soul-destroying bell, it seems Yu Chang'an can't escape, Zhang Shinian said. Feng Zanjian and Yang Mei nodded. Without the middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao that protects the soul, it can't stop the teacher's soul-falling sound at all. A flash of spiritual light flashed, and tall Su Junming appeared in front of everyone, dressed in Cyan Daopo, with his hair bound by a gold ring. Teacher. The three of them bowed and saluted. No need to be polite, just get up. Where are Sima Fan and Zhao Yuan Kaiu? Feng Zanjian clicked the goblet of fire, Zhang Shinian slapped the red gourd, Sima Fan looked dull, and Zhao Yuan Kaiu appeared in the air. Su Junming waved his hand, and the two disappeared instantly. With a flick of his finger, a magic bag flew towards Yang Mei. This is Yu Chang'an's bag of magic, take it. My mentor is so talented that he can capture Yu Chang'an. The two junior brothers and sisters have contributed a lot. I will give them the spiritual treasures in this magic bag. It's rare that you have such a heart. Su Junming nodded with a smile, then looked at Zhang Shinian and Feng Zanjian. There are various spiritual materials in this magic bag, which may lead to uneven distribution between you two, resulting in discord, so I will keep this bag. Open your left palm. 2 porcelain bottles flew over. There are 108 grains of Hungmen Gren Huang Dan in it. I'll give it to you. There was joy on their faces. Hongmeng people's yellow pills are mainly made from the lower grade Hongmeng spirit fruit, and their efficacy is extraordinary. 108 pills are enough to further their cultivation. Thank you, teacher. After slightly nodding, now that Qinglan province has merged with Chongshan province, the three of you can go back and lead your disciples respectively, and go to Qinglan province to take charge. Disciple, obey. Tens of thousands of years after the war, the Qinglan sect invaded the Chongshan state, but was shocked and killed by Su Junming, the true lord of Chongshan. The news that the Kinglan state was taken away instead spread throughout the vast wilderness. Since the birth of Chongshan Academy, it has been nothing more than a poly sect, and even the two major sects, Xiang and Kinglan, have attracted a lot of attention. However, Su Junming of Chongshan Academy lives in seclusion and does not communicate with other Hongmeng monks. This invisibly added a layer of mystery to him, attracting the attention of many curious people. Of course, not everyone can see Su Junming. Fellow Taoist Su is profound in Taoism. He is able to kill Sima Fan and Zhao Yuankai. I really admire him. Looking at the Taoist sitting across from him, Master Suan Miao's tone was complicated. He still remembers how shocked he was when he got the news. Sima Fan and Zhao Yuankai, one is in the late stage of the Supreme Being and the other is in the peak of the Supreme Being. Their strength is among all the Hongmeng Supreme Beings. Although they cannot be said to be top-notch in terms of strength, they are also first-rate. Where is Su Junming? True Lord Xianmiao still can't see clearly. But it will never exceed Hongmeng Shangzun. However, after the shock, True Lord Xianmiao gradually realized that Su Junming must have used a middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, probably more than one. After all, in the past Yuanhui, he only refined 6 or 7 middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao for the Treasure Judgment sect. I don't want to be troublesome, but I can't pretend to be deaf and dumb when someone bullies me. Su Junming looked calm. What fellow Taoist said is true. But this move has really shocked many of our colleagues. Many clans and sects are trying to find out about fellow Taoist. It's something that was expected. Su Junming smiled lightly. Fellow Taoist, you're not here just to tell me this, are you? Of course not. Our treasure judging sect is about to invite colleagues from all over the world to hold an era auction at the treasure judging building in Datong Shenzhou, Datong. Nearly 100 Hongmeng spiritual materials will be put up for auction. Su Daiyu is a close friend of my treasure judging section, so the sect specially asked me to make a trip and hand over the invitation to fellow Taoists. Xianmiao Zhenjun spread his hands, and a jade disc completely made of the Hunyuan spiritual material pure Yang Tianxin jade appeared, and flew into Su Junming's hand with the magic power. He caught it and took a brief look, his eyes showing surprise. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1255. 3 Yuanhui are over. Yes, Hongmeng monks and I are retreating to the Shuyuanhui, so we must set aside enough time to allow as many Taoist fellows as possible to participate in the retreat. I see. With a thought in his heart, the jade saucer flew into the storage gourd. After 3 UN meetings, if I have time, I will go there. Everything is decided by fellow Taoist. However, there are a lot of good things in this auction, such as the mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual root that fellow Taoist wants, and the cultivation techniques of Hongmeng supreme level. A glint flashed in Su Junming's eyes. If I ask about this spiritual root and the technique, what fellow Taoist will tell me? Of course. But if I tell you, Taoist friends will have less expectations. So, instead of being curious after hearing it now, it is better to go to the auction and see it with your own eyes. Fellow Taoist Xianmiao is very eloquent. I told the truth, and I never deceived my fellow Taoist. Su Junming smiled calmly and said nothing more. Master Xianmiao quickly changed the subject. Fellow Taoist, please look at this. He took out a wooden box from the bag and placed it in front of Su Junming. The seal above is removed, and powerful inspiration blooms. After opening, a piece of spiritual material shaped like black charcoal, with purple divine lines on the surface, and the charm of Thunder Dao appeared in front of him. After years of accumulation, Su Junming is no longer in the state where he was poor in knowledge and did not even know the simplest Hongmeng spirit iron when he first came to the wilderness. Thunder Shenmue. Tao-friendly eyesight is exactly what lightning strikes the tree. It is obvious that only the Hongmeng spiritual root can carry Hongmeng level thunder. He stretched out his hand and placed it in the wooden box. The 1-foot-long and 2-inch diameter lightning strike would instantly expanded and turned into a gigantic thing that was 10,000 feet long and 2,000 feet thick. The powerful rime of Thunder Deo continued, and thunder and lightning filled the entire hall. Countless spiritual energy was transformed into thunder by the Thunder Deo spell. Su Junming's eyes lit up. Nice one. The power of this Thunder Deo Yun has almost reached the peak of Hongmeng Shangzun's realm. If something is not good, I don't dare to trouble fellow Taoists with it. Still the old rules, Su Junming nodded and said. Certainly. After admiring it for a moment, Su Junming turned his palm down and pressed it into the air. The huge lightning-struck wood instantly shrank and fell into the jade box. Once it was sealed again, all the strange phenomena disappeared. You can come and get the treasure made from this thing a million years later. Afterwards, you won't have to bring any spiritual materials. True Lord Xianmiao was stunned for a moment and asked quickly, why is this? Is it possible that fellow Taoist suspects that the reward from my treasure-gathering sect is not enough? Or is it that someone in our sect has offended fellow Taoist? None of them. After shaking his head. Next, I plan to practice in seclusion for a period of time, so I can only postpone the treasure refining matter. I see. Lord Xianmiao breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Su Junming doesn't plan to completely end the cooperation with Baozong sect. After one UN meeting, they have made a lot of benefits from each other, and they are unique. I really can't bear to give up. There are only 3 people in the entire wild world who can refine Hongmeng's spiritual treasures and spiritual pills. There are simply too few. He couldn't help but feel nervous. I wonder when your friend will leave seclusion. I don't know either. Let's see how the practice goes. I wish my fellow Taoist in advance great progress in cultivation and an early breakthrough to the realm of Great Master. Thank you. But the realm of the Great Master is still too far. True monarch Xianmiao smiled. Of course it is not easy to change from a supreme being to a great one. There are nearly 10,000 supreme lords in the entire vast wilderness, but there are only 4 great lords. Just from this ratio, you can understand how difficult it is to be promoted to Grand Master. Fellow Daoist Su, this time Chongshan has just annexed Kinglan sect, and the outside world is paying more and more attention to your section. Fellow Daoist is retreating at this time. I am afraid that the timing is not right. That's why I left this lightning strike wood from fellow Taoist. It will take a million years to integrate the Kinglan province. If you are straight again, you are wrong. Don't blame me, fellow Taoist. After a pause, Kinglan state is more than twice the size of Chongshan state. Kinglan sect has also established a sect here with tens of thousands of dollars. It has a deep foundation. Even if there are to suppress the Taoist friends, if you want to completely bring Kinglan province under the control of Chongshan, a million years is still too few. It will take at least 6 or 7 yuanhui to do it. Fellow Taoist, Su Junming would like to thank you in advance for your kind words. However, I have confidence in my disciples. A million years is enough, Su Junming said confidently. Although the Kinglan state is large and has a large population, the Kinglan sect's rule in the past was like a feudal dynasty. Except for the Kinglan sect's disciples and dignitaries, more than 99% of the people live in poverty, are illiterate, and will never be able to escape in their lifetime. 100 miles in radius. They have no relationship with Kinglan sect. It is these people that Chongshan Academy wants to win over. Give them land, money and food, and give their children the opportunity to study and practice. With these, people vote with their feet and know who to choose. Therefore, after cleaning up all the monks of the Kinglan sect, and even the senior monks of the entire Kinglan province, he did not worry at all that anyone could hinder the rule of Chongshan Academy. Even if outside monks want to interfere, there are still Yang Mei, Zhang Shinian, and Feng Zanjian, plus the gourd vine covering the 2 continents, so that they can never come back. As long as you have confidence, fellow Taoist. If you are in trouble, I, the Jubeo sect, are willing to do my best to help. Thank you. After sending the person away, Su Junming stood by the window, looking at Kong Shanfang shrouded in mist and rain, with a calm expression. Dong dong. Come in. Wearing a sky blue Taoist robe, Yang Mei, with white hair and a childish face, opened the door and walked in. Teacher. How did you come? I'm going to the mountains to survive the Hunyuan Golden Immortal Tribulation. I'll come back to protect him. Nod slightly. In just a short time, this little guy like Xingshan will become a Hunyuan Golden Immortal. Time flies so fast. You have superior mountaineering qualifications and excellent luck. If you are able to join my Chongshan sect, you will be able to advance quickly. The Dian Divine Mirror empowers understanding, and Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven slows down time to speed up cultivation. It is just one of them, and it is a great opportunity for any monk. Chongshan Academy has both of them, completely surpassing almost all sections. If the monks get it, they will save countless hard work. After Su Junming nodded, sometimes, it is not a good thing to advance quickly, as it can easily lead to unstable foundations. As a master, you must guide me well. Disciple, I obey. After a reply, teacher, when the disciple came back, he accidentally heard a message from the market, saying that Xianfeng sect, Chixin Chunyang sect, King Kong sect, Swanyan Ghost sect, and Nine-Tailed Fox clan were at the gate of King Kong section gathering with the intention of forming an alliance to advance together and retreat together. I've also heard about this. It's obvious that they are here for us, Chongshan. In just one Duanhui time, we destroyed Xiang sect and Kinglan section. Such strength will naturally frighten the surrounding sections. Even if we explain that Kinglan sect took action first, no one will care. They only care about strength and results. Su Junming nodded. Yang's eyebrows flashed coldly. Do you want to take action in advance? Although the 5 major forces have joined forces, there are 9 monks at the level of Lord Hongmeng. But now, there are more than 12 monks among the second-generation disciples of Chongshan Academy who have been promoted to Lord Hongmeng. Add in the first-generation disciples, and there are nearly 30 monks, which is enough to sweep them all. He waved his hand and said, no need. For us now, the most important thing is to digest Kinglan Dazhu. You have to eat your food one bite at a time. If you are too greedy and eat too much, you will easily get yourself into trouble. Moreover, although I used the magic of life to block Yu Chang'an's clues, the immortal clan has a profound background, and there will always be people who come looking for it. That day. By then, we will have almost finished digesting Kinglan Dazhu. Yang Mei nodded. What if the 5 major sects take action first? Su Junming raised his eyebrows and spoke calmly. Destroy them. Yes. Now our chassis is larger and can accommodate more disciples. So, with my warrant, please let your senior sister Su Huang and senior brother Sanfan come over. Su Huang and Zhang Sanfan were the first 2 direct disciples he had accepted to be promoted to Supreme Hongmeng. Disciple, obey. Go ahead. Above the sky, there is a secret realm of immortals. The white clouds are vast, the golden light shines across the sky, and the atmosphere is endless in the Huangji Palace. The 7 tall, short, fat, and thin beings are all different, but they have 3 eyes between their eyebrows and their auras have all reached the realm of Hongmeng Supreme. They sit at the head. Nearly 10,000 Hunyuan golden immortals are sitting below. The solemn atmosphere was filled with a solemnity that was not common in the past. Gain, their clan leader Yu Chang'an, and more than 3,000 powerful Hunyuan golden immortal clan members have been missing for 30,000 years. During this time they tried their best, but got nothing. Yu Chang'an and the 3,000 elite tribesmen were like a dream, completely lost. Great Elder, the Tianji sect sent a message. They used the town's spiritual treasure 9 trigrams of Ziwei, but they still haven't figured out any clues about Yu Chang'an and his clan members. Sitting in the middle of the 7 Hongmeng, his figure was slightly bloated and his face was so slender that the old man frowned. But it was said by true Lord Tianji himself. Exactly. The old man's brows tightened a little unconsciously. Not even the Tianji sect has found any clues. How is this possible? Who else in the vast world has a destiny cultivation level higher than that of true Lord Tianji? On the left side of the old man, a middle-aged man wearing a green robe and a scar on his left face added a bit of ferocity to his face, frowning. There are crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the wild world, and the major sects may not only have those people on the surface. There may be a powerful person in the destiny in some corner that we don't know about, said a tall man with eyebrows hanging down to his cheeks who looked extremely young and handsome. After hearing this, everyone nodded subconsciously. Everyone outside knows that there are 5 Hongmeng Shangzun in their immortal clan, but in fact they have 8. For many large sects and clans with deep roots, they will never put all their power on the table. If that's the case, wouldn't we never be able to find the whereabouts of Yu Chang'an, said a woman holding a sword in her arms. She is also the only woman among the cultivators. It's just our guess that the powerful person in the destiny path may be the destiny path spiritual treasure. But no matter what, if something is done, it will definitely leave traces. As long as we search slowly, we will always notice clues, the scar-faced man affirmed. Everyone nodded in agreement.